I believe another, oh, it's a reveal, in fact, not a shot this time. It was sent through, and it's caught the information. They know where FPX are holding this from. Autumn needs a big play, and only the one to be found. Berlin, 1 versus 2. And they're all going to be diffusing in that narrow little alleyway. If there is a chance, the spray might just work out, but they're trying to bait him into a fight. He sees they're not diffusing. He'll buy this time just a little bit further. In fact, the clock here could prove to be the biggest enemy for the side of Heretics as they start this diffuse yet again. The swing is in, but the shots don't land. FPX punish this time, and it's Heretics to push to 13. Re-ends with a phenomenal round. That shock dart was perfect.
They're going to be calling for agent bans. That's what they're going to be looking at. It's like, all right, guys, I've had enough of map vetoes. I want agent vetoes just so I can get this man off a down.
Start guessing his rules in THOPX.
He wasn't playing so. He was playing Breach. So that's something they've brought in for the game today. And it has been disgustingly good. Whether it's reveals, as said, or shock darts. Okay, maybe a hit or miss with the Hunter's Fury, but I don't think they're going to mind too much. Well, you could understand the elation from Benji. They've got another opportunity. They've already had 3 of them to close out this map. And FPX, well, they got an extra pause. They're using it.
Now's not the time to let this one slip. With that a little bit of extra brain juice expanded for Team Heretics. They've got to be feeling fantastic. I will just quickly note that Boo currently has an Odin. I don't think he's going to commit to that, but attack side, they might have post-plan setups with Rien's reveals and Benji's traps on B side. It could be nasty.
So there is a, I think I showed you this when it came down to their B side hold.
Nest.
Yeah, he has a Nest wallbang that he uses for a specific post-plan. So if he is pulling this in, I would be very surprised if they're not going B, because he has an exact post-plan for this.
You know, you showed me that, and I used it in my next rank game. Let me tell you, the things that were written in chat, I'm pretty sure some people got banned. But it's good fun, and I think pulling it out at a time like this will be unexpected for FPX as well. Like,
they haven't used it at all.
The only thing I'll say is that FPX have been tremendously cautious about trap wires. I saw it on the A site retake. I've seen it a couple of times where they're going into a site and they're looking everywhere to find those traps. If they make the mistake of not clearing them this time, they will be punished quite heavily.
But also, he just knows his lineup for the post plant. So if the traps might not even be an issue, really. It's just going to be if they can get into a post plant, which, hey, if you're running a Gecko, I feel like you should be able to do that, and they have been able to do that. Autumn already spotted. Boo already in position, ready with his lineups, just to try and be an absolute rat at the back of the site. And while this is maybe the scariest post plant the FPX are going to ever have to face into.
They might not even know what they're facing just yet. That's the scariest part. You see the stars down on the spike. The Gravwell to deny. Benji's been in this position quite a few times, more than a handful of times. But this time they're not checking it in time. Luckily, Lysor reacts, finds the kill. The defuse started, at least that's as far as Heretics know. Some kills come through though. They reclaim the space. The Odin takes Lysor. The drop from Berlin is good. Able to at least find the one, and Rien's is incredibly low. Oh, Boo's caught up top. That's a big mistake. All he has to do now is root out Rien's and deal with Woot, but that's a big task halfway when Rien swings in to close it out. 14-12. They pushed them to the limit, but Team Heretics take it across the line.
No, incredible performance from them in the end. It was a back and forth all the way through a map that we favored for FPX. A map that, as said, they looked incredibly good on, but ultimately the hero plays from the likes of Rien's Woot were fantastic. Either way, still more to come. Bind up next after the break.
Let's go start watching the highlights. And we go quick.
To see how the
No matter what.
e스포츠로서
NG
I'm on.
map control game plays out.
참을 수가 없었죠.
Up a Madrid final rematch. You got Sentinels going up against Gen G. The kickoff here at Champions 2024. Two of our most prolific teams in all of Valorant facing off against one another. And this matchup is going to be awesome.
These are the only two teams this year that have lifted a global trophy. And now they're up against each other in the first round. And we have a surprise already. Abyss making it through the veto.
Yeah.
This is super shocking. Abyss has been Gen G's permaban, so they're clearly a little more comfortable on this map. Sunset has been a real pain point for Gen G this year. They haven't been able to find the success they want with the comp they've been trying to run with the Jet on point. They don't usually run the Raze, so that makes a lot of sense to go to ban that map. I felt like they were going to have to leave that open against Sentinels, but this is really interesting to me. It shows that they're working on Abyss.
Curious what we're going to get on Haven as well.
Yeah, that's a big question for me because this has been a really solid map, I think, for Gen G in Stage 2. They're one of the few teams that have stuck to the Viper ideas that were super prevalent last year. They're not playing the Breach, they're still playing the Sky there, and Sentinels have been playing that kind of new standard comp that we used to see a lot back in the day, the Breach, the Sova, and I actually think it's kind of tough to play that into the Viper, right? Those Breach flashes are a little tough to clear back through the wall and ideas like that. So I'm wondering if they have something specific prepped up against that comp that was very prevalent last year in Americas.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look to bait out a lot of that utility. That was something DRX was doing really good with some push and pull at A main to really keep it off balance. So, okay, John QT on the Cypher this time for Sentinels. But yeah, Gen G sticking with their comp. They've done it all year. They haven't really changed their comps. Once they settle on something they like, they don't go away from it. Even though DRX did take them down on Haven in the grand finals in the very first map. Other than that, they've looked good in the two other times they played it.
For Gen G, I think you should be watching out for how they play their flood defenses with this Viper. Having that orb on the A side, having the wall across B, it gives you a lot of potential to have the anchors moving around on the site, finding gaps in the execute. That can be really punishing if Sentinels isn't ready for it.
Yeah, and of course, Sentinels, a lot's going to be leaning on Zekin here to try and get those early engagements going for them. But I am curious to see how the utility is going to shake out here for the Breach, for the Sova, how that's going to play, as you had mentioned before, Mimi, going up against that Viper.
Gen G is going to really struggle to contest Sentinels on these extremities. The Breach comp is super good for taking a lobby, early space like that. So it's probably going to rely on a lot of retakes here for Gen G, but they're great at them.
Oh, doggy, it's now time to get ready for map 1 of Masters Madrid. Or excuse me, we got a Masters Madrid rematch. I got Spain on the mind.
It's
but
Champions.
It's going to be amazing. We're here at Champions, baby. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. You got Brennan Sideshow for the call.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, let's get to this one. GB's already teed it up. Listen, it's that Masters Madrid finals, that rematch between these two teams, where honestly, both of them peaking at sort of the right times, but drastically different trajectories in terms of where they've landed over the course of 2024.
I would totally agree with that. You're looking at the two teams that have lifted trophies, but Gen G have gone from success to success, while Sentinels had that Super Bowl hangover that we often see from very good teams. I will say, though, when it specifically comes to Haven, paper thin, talking about it on the desk, that A lobby control was so important for the one game that Gen G did end up dropping on this map. I think that's where the Breach Sova comp is significantly better.
You can see that A control give it up, and nobody watching onto the high ground angle. Texture back in a way, still flashed up. Won't be able to get too much done here. And Gen G not able to flood defense in time. Smokes up. Might be looking for a bit of a contact play, but a call for the pause is made by Sen. They're just going to wait this one out for the util. Still holding it down. Go spam it away. Still adjustment from Sassy. It's good. Leaves it just down immediate. 1v3 here for our pistol. Can he do it? First obstacle removed. Plenty more where that came from, though. Revealed up just in the last few minutes. Reloads off. Turret up. Catches one of the contacts, but Sentinels not willing to give them too much of a fight here. Sassy's so wide out into the open. 14 HP. Turret still up. Tends us to break this one. The single shot will do it. Meteor delivers it.
Well, there's a reason that this guy was the MVP for Shanghai. What a way to start things out. I was all ready to sell how well the Sentinels had played that A exec. The early control, the hit into sight. Gen G rattled, unable to get that flood retake working, and what did we just witness? The Red Bull clutch comes through.
in a spot that it should never. Yeah. I think we've got to start there. This is a situation where he should get traded every single time.
Got to agree with that.
And the home crowd roars.
That's a 1v3, and Gen G to continue that kind of dominance with the pistol round, starting it up. Conversion into the bonuses. Josh, you were chewing my ear about it. Yeah. Off in the green room, you know, talking about how good this Gen G team is when it comes to just being able to get those early advantages.
Yeah, if you want to let me nerd out for a moment there, Gen G are third best team when it comes to pistols at Champions, but they're amazing at converting bonuses. So assuming that they win this round, which Meteor is under quite a bit of pressure here.
Quite a lot, actually, overwhelming. Damage is being done to them, but it's been flooded in.
And should be all good.
And it should be, yeah. Sealed up here. Spikes drop down. Zeltis, not much chances for him. He might go around the world to farm up some orbs, but...
And so, look, Meteor is going to have enough to buy up a rifle in the next round. They've got 2 Guardians, Bulldog rifle. They're the number 1 team at Champions in terms of converting these bonus rounds. In round 3, round 15, where you've won the pistol and the follow-up. And I think part of that is because they take them so seriously. They have such incredible aimers. If they have a Guardian or a Sheriff in their hands, first bullet accuracy on almost all of these guys on Gen G is remarkably good. Love seeing that flash there.
A little bit of an Easter egg, I think, of things to come.
30 seconds left.
I think he's just looking to give away his body at the final moment. I mean, he has nothing really to play for, apart from that extra ult point that he could try to get online. And to be honest, he's not too far away from getting it early on in this map.
Yeah, spotted out and finally cleaned up here. So, inevitable here, but now we can start to look forward to this bonus round. Gen G usually cooking with it.
More of that.
They are, and I'll tell you what, I've been watching a lot of both. Well, I've been watching a lot of Gen G on Haven. I've watched all of Sentinels Haven, but they haven't played it very much. So that's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because Sen are going to read into what they've seen from the VODs from Gen G. And one of the interesting things is Viper Orb always going towards C long instead of A. That's an interesting quirk of how Gen G play this. And they have 2 different Viper walls. This one, the most standard, which he's going to throw towards A. And then he has an aggressive one for A lobby, which I thought they might pull out. But here on the bonus, they're going to try to punish anybody that takes a peek mid.
Bit of spam damage just laid down into the wall here. A lot of presence showcased here by Gen G. Texture's going walkabouts. Wants to make a go of things.
No cam tap.
Yep, no cam, no turret to catch that contact. Now the dash is active. They missed the timing. Right behind now still. It's a bullet straight to the back. Now, potentially an opening for Sentinels. We'll attempt to slow this one down. They want to try and get rid of most of this util. There's a fault line to try and follow through Zekken. Got a lot in his face here still. Nothing to really shut them down. Meteor dodging the flash, up and away! Looking snappy and magnetic into the moment. Still a TP forward. Sentinels not to be disallowed this, but pushing through the one way. It is Chaos incarnate. Down to that 1v2. Munchkin. Upgrade in hand. Make the most of this one here. Sentinels cannot afford to throw away these player advantage situations. Not like how the pistol round got started for them. Dart is good. Spots out Munchkin now, but he's got a lot more to do. Molly at the feet, Sassy. Push back and away and wide. Bit of spam and straight bullets away. Gets the reload off, but there's only 6 left to him. He's got to do so much with it. Not able to, not against Sentinels there. In this instance, the discipline finally reigning supreme.
So there we go. Gen G unable to convert the bonus this time around. Still off to a decent start with some good damage done. That's going to knock the Sentinels' economy slightly. But I think more important than that, as we look towards the rest of this half, is how the map control game plays out. You can't really run big C execs against Gen G. That's the power of the Viper Orb at the top there that they run. But it does make their A-holds weaker, I think. And the way that DRX was able to beat them on this map just recently in Pacific was by taking A-long control very consistently. You've always got John there with the cam to make sure if Gen G push down mid, it's covered. I think in rounds like this, giving Gen G full A lobby control seems like a bit of a map control mistake to me from the side of Sentinels. But maybe they've got something very different in mind. It looks like they're setting up for another one of these garage splits.
At least just preemptively trying to get rid of some of the killjoy util. Turrets up, trying to spam one of the more common locations, but they don't actually know where it is. It's been shifted and moved along, so none of those bullets will be landing. Drone up through C. Makes it feel like there is some presence and pressure being pushed up into it, but a lot of players just now sitting outside through B, wall up in their face again, creating difficulties.
And if they do decide to pop B here, Munchkin's going to be there fairly early with a snake bite. They're trying to go back towards garage.
Texture. He's trying to play an off angle to get ahead of this util that they might use to clear this, and he is ahead of the phone line! 2 removed! Job just like that, pushing through though. John QT quick to equalize, the 3v3. Into the moment still with 40 seconds left, there is room to breathe. Bit of a pause is called, Cage falls. Alongside the wall, Munchkin was not ready for that. Ferrari Peak in action here.
30 seconds left.
Tap, hoping that the rest of these players are going to come swinging out of the open and at least it once more down to Meteor. 1v3. A miracle round for him on the pistol round that he did convert, but this one is a little bit more, at least tougher to chew through, isn't it? Contact's caught by John and he will deliver them the round.
2 huge kills there from Sentinels. One from John, the other from Zekken, both in B main. And I think those are the 2 that really turned that in favor of Sen. After Texture got a double kill, most of the time I think that should be Raps.
Yeah.
And yet, really strong, quick aim coming out from John Cutie and Zekken to be able to pick off players on Gen G. Both Karen and Munchkin falling in those spots. It just opens up the whole site for them. Gen G are going to have to respect that. If Sentinels are shooting and they've got a firepower advantage early on in this game, well, a lot of things are going to change.
That's knocked Gen G down to that weaker buy. It's a good time to talk about, you know, the overall feelings heading into this match, because a lot of people would, I think, pen Gen G as the heavy favorites. That's understandable considering Sentinels were slacking a little bit towards the end of stage 2. Ended up falling off a little bit, of course. Texture with the knives in his hands with the Blade Storm might be able to return at least some of it, but tagged up by the drone. You got to respect that. Backing away, it's a bait and switch though. Got to make the most of it. Meteor's back in there too, orb in their face. Not thinking about it, but as it's dropped, Meteor is just out in the open, and this slow, cautious tail is really being told by Sen across the map. It's working dividends.
It is, but because they didn't take A long control early on in the round, and they don't have drone, it's going to be tough for them to end A here. So their choices are between B and C, and that's mostly where the Gen G defense is. There are still opportunities for this to go wrong for Sentinels. They've got time on the clock. I'm not sure that John's going to be able to re-explore this entire area confidently. He's going to give it a go, though.
There's a stack of players at Gen G, at least.
Waiting for what's the chances you run into the bucket?
Yeah, I mean, Josh should just be going down every day of the week, and so he does. An upgrade offered up, handle to them. Fault line into the corner as well, but you want to go into this one with a rolling thunder. It is committed, still as an orb and a snake bite in your face. Aftershock, narrowly avoided. Flick of the wrist, dodges the flash. Still, the reinforcements are here. This is the danger zone for Sentinels. You're walking straight into the maw, and it's only firepower. They're going to be able to bail yourself out. Texture can only do so much with that Sheriff in hand, and the plan has to be stuck down. Bullet spraying and praying away, but Tens ready to lock it all down.
Recovered there towards the end for Sentinels. But I'm really not liking the way that they're setting themselves up in some of these situations. Because they're not taking A control early on, they limit themselves so drastically in the late round.
Yeah.
Yes, they're able to barrel their way through there. And yes, it doesn't matter too much that John goes down to the Bucky in short, but that got close and it had no reason to necessarily. They just found themselves stuck.
The importance of that A lobby control, though, that you were hammering home is going to be all the more here. Texture's got the operator in his hands, and I think this is being tracked by Sentinels now. Got a sight set towards it. It's a drone. Texture's ahead of this, though. The fall, and he misses the flick. Ah, there's a dash into his face. How the hell do you avoid this? You don't! It's all supplemented. TP up into heaven. Tens is there for the backstab just in case, but Sassy was the one to clean it all up. And now you're just looking at a save.
That's so lovely. I mean, that's a wonderful play over towards Hay there. Adding the Soverall into the back of it too. Texture had an opportunity, but it was a tough flick to be able to get onto Zekken. He does the reverse peek, crossing over the bricks early. He is often good for those. His aim's pretty spectacular with the op, but this time, Sen come out on top, and Zekken's got that killer instinct just to rush him down early.
Yeah, they are not scared, are they?
I was talking about how, you know, not fully convinced yet at the way that Sentinels are approaching the attack side, despite the fact that they've been good so far with rifles in hand. But if I'm looking at just the teamwork, coordination, their rifle aim, everything's looking very clean right now for Sen. And that A-take inspired a lot of confidence in me. So far, it's Gen G firmly on the back foot here.
Yeah. Sentinels coming out swinging as well. Don't let that 4th seed in Americas fool you. What a finalized finish as well for them in stage 2.
They had a 6-map win streak at the start of stage 2. Yeah, it's something that I think people have forgotten because they went out ignominiously from playoffs. And they'd lost to G2 right before the playoffs as well. But they're still a competent team, and if you catch them on a good day, woe betide you.
Yeah. You think about this Sentinels team as well. It's all been leading up to this. The big moment here at Champions, the end of the year. They started their year in Korea with the Africa tournament, and now looking to potentially lift even a trophy, but maybe getting ahead of ourselves here. It's only day one, and it's only the first match. Tens punishing the peak there. At least they all pick up onto Munchkin. McCage up as well, covering the back of Tens.
So this is that Viper Wall I was talking about. It's designed for A-long control, but they couldn't control the Tens teleports. Very cool anti there, I think, based on where they saw the Viper Wall.
Caron, he wants to press forwards. He spots the barrel. He knows that there's a kill to be found. Will claim it. Double peak is up, and the trade in sight here for Sentinels. Seekers, considered by Lackey, are now offloaded here just for that extra information, but Sentinels are still working with about a minute on the clock here. They can afford to just slow it all the way down. But Meteor, again, the risks have to be taken. He's the one pushed past and forwards most of his util, and he needs to find a kill from it.
Surely he has a free one on Tens.
Backs to it. He's watching the wrong angle, but yeah, Tens unaware. That could potentially be crossed up here. Sentinels going for that quick reaction now. Full speed ahead over towards the C site.
And without Munchkin alive, no Viper Orb, C becomes much easier to hit. But there's always going to be that lockdown coming from Garage. How do you... not Garage, coming from...
Whoa.
What is that kind of placement? Just to make sure that it doesn't get contested?
I mean, Sentinel's going to be pushed all the way up onto site here. They can't actually fall back into the long angle flash. Just about dodge here. Second has dropped. This is disjointed here by Sentinels. The aftershock has to get used now. Meteor wrapping behind. And a coordinated attempt. It works to full fruition. Gen G. Beautiful work.
What value from the lockdown as well.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've really seen too many people popping it down there to go for the C retake. I was also watching Texture's POV. He had to dodge 2 breach flashes and Lakia's flash as well. He's spinning his crosshair left and right just to try to keep his vision intact so that he can help on the retake. But that's the first one with rifles in hand that Gen G get on the board. And it wasn't looking great for them until Meteor made that play walking down mid. When you're in a player disadvantaged spot, sometimes you got to take risks like that.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, he's all over the place.
So now Texture with Op in hand, going to be taking that peek towards B as Sentinels look to take some A lobby control.
TTP though, Lakia side by side. Him and Caron not ready for that one, are they? Zekken just catches one to the temple. Forced to back away. Texture's wondering which way to look.
You see that Tens went for the same teleport again, so every time the Viper Wall's been in this spot, Tens has tried to TP into this cubby. But this time, Munchkin wasn't just sat there in the open picking up an ult orb. They actually fought.
Scout destroyed.
Slow and steady. This time Gen G not needing to take too many risky plays, wandering forwards here. The pit is going to be dropped at the minute mark. This is lovely. Supplements the defense.
But it also stops you getting any further info. Ah, I say that, but actually Karen, having gone on top here, is still going to be able to get info down short. So it keeps 2 players A on the defense side. Sen are going to struggle to get through that.
They really are.
What are your options now? You haven't gone Garage, you haven't broken the Killjoy utility.
Well, Meteor, he's going to walkabouts here. Oh my, almost time for the peak there. Yeah, almost there with a punish still. Drone's going to be used to clear through into mid. Sentinels have only got 30 seconds to really work with into this one. Again with that player disadvantage. Tens, TP up top and away. And he spotted these players completely unaware. Gen G still lacking. He's going to get a handle onto most of this one. Caron pressing forward. Smokes watched for Gen G. The toppled.
That is an amazing play from Sentinels. Gen G always flood defend and try to pre-take over towards B. Zelsis tapped that knowing it was coming. I mean, he knew with 100% confidence that they were about to push through that smoke. Hard red. There's the advantage of having those VODs to watch from Pacific.
Yeah. Munchkin not interested in playing for this one as well. Just wants to keep the op into the next. It's a big tool they're going to be using for their defense rounds. Gives us time as well to talk about, you know, the general feeling heading into this one. It was already kind of mentioned on the desk with the map pool stuff, with Haven being played. It's a map that we haven't seen much of Sentinels at all.
No.
And there's a reason that they picked it here today. They feel like there's weaknesses to exploit on Gen G's side. I would have to agree. When I was watching, it looked like one of the weaker maps for Gen G, surprisingly. It was my overall hot take coming into the event that felt like the map pool wasn't quite as shored up as people were making out.
The weird thing about that, though, is I feel like we've seen Haven so little and from so few teams at an elite level that actually I still feel like Genji's Haven is up there, top 5, top 3 in the tournament.
From what we've seen, yeah.
Maybe I'll change my mind after watching more of other teams play, like Sentinels here. But, you know, Sen had only played it once before this, into 100 Thieves, and they lost fairly convincingly.
And so it's hard to tell, right?
It's really tough to tell.
Size, yeah.
It's tough to tell who's good on Abyss, obviously, but also Haven at the moment. I think, you know, as we head deeper in this map pool, even more unknowns. The decider, if we got there, would be Abyss.
Oh, Abyss. I mean, I would love to see that map 3. Already into the round here. It's going to be quadruple face up in through mid. John QT stepping up late. Looking to send it straight through into the B side as well. A bit of spam into the smokes, aftershock as well. Nobody's going to be able to press their way forwards and past it. The Tens does get dropped. That spam, I believe, coming out through the smoke. Trailblazer spotting it. Paranoia rolling front out for the back. Nobody's watching this 1 second. He's going to be dropped here, trying to fight for the side control. It's all over the place. Sentinels caught completely unaware, and a spray down transfer just does not connect. Everybody falls once more. This time, it's Sentinels drifting back to that spectator seat, and Genji maybe one step closer to making it equalized at the half.
And Genji 1 step ahead there too. Notice how Sentinels was spamming into the smokes, expecting Genji to be set up for that pre-take, for that flood defend. And instead Genji hold a little further back, not much, but just a little, in order to not die to that early spam and get a big retake off altogether. These minute differences in timings are messing with what Sentinels were expecting. And especially if you get a freebie like that early on. But look how unexpected that timing was for them to go through the smoke.
Yeah, the Rolling Thunder just to try and fight for one of the extremities there out towards B. Just the slightest of timings that were off.
And that's how fast Genji adapt from one round to the next. It doesn't take them long.
There's a reason that they've made every single final so far this year. That's an accolade that not many teams at all can even claim. Munchkin trying to stop this one as well. Another B attempt and push in, spots the player, spamming away. Somebody's to cover this one down and below. Stunned up, matters not. Second, just walking straight into this one. Still Karan is out and away. Karan delivers it side by side, him and Lakia. They push back any aggressors. And the spike drop down into no man's land. There are no chances left for Sassy.
Another spot where you feel like a Genji player's caught dead to rights, being double swung essentially. And the leader in terms of any Rookie of the Year awards pulls it out again, a 2K. Just a slight wiggle of the movement too to shake off a few bullets.
Yeah.
Watching Karan is a delight.
This guy is so damn impressive, and he's even the one to finish it here. 5-5, being that scoreline. You are right, you know, you're talking about that Rookie of the Year candidacy. I mean, there's not many that can really hold a candle to them. One of them is in this server with him.
Yeah. I mean, John would be probably second, maybe Woot, it depends what your argument would be, but they're both so far behind Karan, they can't even see him in the race.
Yeah.
He's sprinted off into the distance, over the horizon. It would take one of those guys like John or Woot, winning champs, honestly, to overtake him for Rookie of the Year. Like you said, Genji have been in every finals, with a rookie player basically straight from ranked. That's insanely impressive.
Yeah, really never seen anything like it.
So 5-5, big recovery from Genji. Yes, they got the pistol, but it looked like Sentinels were in control in these rifle rounds up until recently. Sen going for a few too many plants on B.
Again, looking towards Garage. Seems like it's a pretty key part of what they're going for. Looking for a bit of spam into the corners, just in case there is that one of them held. Up angle, Meteor's caught on the cross, though. Trying to wade his way past that one. That's a leg shot. John QT barely surviving Seekers. Pushing forwards. Lakia smelling that blood in the water. He definitely wanted to hunt that one out. So it's equalized 4 versus 4. And it causes that reaction now out of Sentinels. But they're going to be walking again. It's a Paranoia. It's an Anaswarm. It's an orb up in their face. Sentinels really don't have too many options here, but they're calling for the pause.
They have to go for the C-exec once the orb goes down, but this just becomes so obvious.
Yeah, and again, the players are meeting their match. It's Genji happily able to just try and fight this one. Forwards, Hunter's Fury, though. That was the extra element needed. Lakia right from behind. Texture follows up with a shot. He's still got to deal with these players. 2v2 now. 36 seconds left. Not enough with the offset of the movement. Lakia will be dropped. Texture 3 HP.
30 seconds left.
Looking this way, that way, head on a swivel, doesn't know which way to look. It's an impossibility almost at this point, but at least the spike isn't down. It's the one thing working for him, but the weaponry is not. Plant from Zelsis stuck, committed. Needs to be held out here. Weak players all around. It's all about this first shot that lands. Finally, needs a second one. Dash now active. Doesn't know where he is, and it's wrapped all the way round. Texture! You absolute animal.
He's such an incredible player. Walking back into the backside of C, checking left and right on default. Pulls out his shorty, thinking that he'd killed the healthy player, realizes he's wrong, still has time, even when he guesses the angle incorrectly first, to readjust. It's just unbelievable watching these guys play sometimes.
Individual game IQ, it's off the charts.
It really is. You know, we can see, we've got a mini-map.
Yeah.
He's operating fully in the dark in this spot, and he's got a perfect read on that timing. Munchkin can't even believe his eyes.
What a delivery. Straight up a gift for Gen G, but all from the hands of Texture. And still now, look towards it. The final round here of our first half on Haven.
And Gen G have got a 4-player stack on A. This is a hard read. All right, Sentinels have only been going A when they want to finish A. Yeah. I think that's another flaw a little bit with the way that they've been doing their attack side calling. They're not really taking A control and then pivoting off elsewhere. Maybe this round they will, and maybe that'll be how they convert round 12.
Trailblazer broken, doesn't get concrete information. Just being held here by Sentinels. John QT and Zelsis looking to try and break some of this util up through garage, maybe force and pull some of the rotations, but Gen G firmly stuck in the mud. They are not drifting away from this A anchoring spot with 4 players ready to receive.
I think if they break the turret, it will have to pull people off A.
That's what they're going to be trying to go for here. John QT with 40 seconds left. It's broken.
They didn't move a muscle.
Only just now, Munchkin, a TP at least, it's faked out.
The hardest of hard reads. Yeah, a Munchkin classic.
They think these rotations have occurred, but listen, Gen G, they put up all the barricades. They are ready to receive every single player. Full line over and through. Lakia inside the Cloudburst plays. Once inside of it, the wall up in their face. Sentinels cannot step past it. It's up to Sassy and more. With only 15 seconds to do it. Your options are pretty much entirely ran out. Updraft and away. Fade away with a Blade Storm. It's a flourish to finish, man. And only a few seconds remain before Gen G take this lead for our first half of Haven. No time on the clock to play with. 7-5 will be what we stare at.
Incredible end to the half there. The time ended up being the worst killer of 10s.
Oh, absolutely insane stuff.
What a way to open our first game at Champs. I feel like this rematch of Masters Madrid Finals is delivering. We've seen some awesome stuff.
Yeah, we certainly have. This has just been dominance, and what a return of the fire from Gen G after a quite slow beginning, honestly, but unorthodox. But they are in the driving seat here for Haven. Sentinels map pick of our opening match of Champs.
Oh, come on.
Trade in any phone in any condition.
It's looking real. Americas.
Heading into Dynasty
Finals. They have a very similar roster to the squad that won back-to-back at Lock-In and Tokyo.
The consistency is just unheard of, especially with how challenging this year has been. It's a very condensed schedule. Yep. Makes it difficult to just not feel the burnout over a certain amount of time here, but Gen G have been looking largely in charge here. The beginning here for our pistol round. It's all slow for now. Creeping and crawling up through mid, looking to see if they can get any of those early angles, just in case somebody's peeking for info on Sentinel's side. There's a trip in their face. Texture, it's going to be chewed up by that one. A couple of stray shots. Yeah, you flying it away. A tap as well for the reaction.
You can see there that Texture was intending to updraft onto the high ground inside that smoke. The trap stopped him. Cam sees a lot of this info, but it's only Zelsis home.
Yeah, peeking away. Just can't quite land the one shot that was necessary there. So Zelsis will push back that play that's occurring. The timing that's taken. Munchkin. Oh, wide open. Right for the taking. John GT's dropped.
So they tap B. Fake C, walk in on A.
And it's an open site. Potentially a closed case, but still Sentinels, they do have that retake utility in their back pocket, just waiting for it to potentially come online. 17 seconds until the dart. Not too sure for the fault line. Dash still available. See if a Zekken in the back pocket. They're worried about these flanking players as well. Might find it difficult to get through, at least with this orb, but as soon as it goes down, you might see them take that timing. They are so concerned about these mid flanks.
Not ready yet.
And now the time to strike is here. TextJ's way ahead of it, inside the smoke. Any sort of timings the Sentinels were looking to try and take, they've missed it already. Texture still, Sassy. That's 2. They need more than that. And no one from Gen G is willing to even give him it. Ice cold from them, a tap onto the spike, no one out into the open. He has to stick it for the only win.
Oh, nice try, very good.
Almost inevitable that they claim once more another pistol round here.
And that pistol was remarkable. The fake onto B, tapping it after Texture had failed to get onto the high ground, trying to get simultaneous C lurks and A lurks working. I don't think either of them were designed as fakes. It's more just as see which one works, right? If the guy dies over towards C, probably the guy on A is going to be able to find a timing. And my God, what a timing Munchkin found. He also got in position to throw that orb deep towards CT. As soon as the orb goes down, Karen throws a smoke and Texture's inside of it. Every part of that worked beautifully.
Yeah.
The small details are hammered out so well by Gen G. They've had a lot of practice, a lot of matches to be played this year.
Not willing to throw away that advantage that they've got. Winning that pistol round. Taking it nice and slow, hoping that Sentinels will peek into them.
The cam from John Cutie was positioned a little further back in the previous round. It's going to be getting them good information on this side of the map.
Yeah, Trailblazer. Just a check in case there are trips there. Clears the way through most of the side. Not sure if it cleared Zekken off into the corner. They don't like what they saw. Gen G instead now moving over towards the B site. Flash overhead, no connection there. Karon will stick this one, and the Gamble Stacker Sentinels does not work out.
They got Viper Orb onto the plant. No Snakebite to work with, but double Nano Swarms as long as Meteor stays alive.
And everybody's looking all over the place here. Still Sassy's way ahead of the rest of his team, looking to try and trade this one. Oh, Lakia is right there behind him. All the avenues watched, and everybody falls once more. So Gen G is flawless on their anti-eco. Again, looking towards that bonus round. It's going to be more than healthy. Our kill leader of Texture looking just very much in control. 14-8.
Just took over from Sassy, who's having a remarkably good game out here on Haven, but not enough. Gen G failed the first bonus. Even the best teams in the world, by the way, are still winning less than 60% of their bonus rounds. So it is a difficult round to be able to convert. But Gen G with 2 bites at the apple here on this map and a chance to run away with Haven.
Wall up. It's difficult to get the timing here. Celsius is holding his fault line, but all the players are already way ahead of him. Sassy.
That doesn't even stop them contacting.
There's no way.
Can't believe they didn't give it away there.
There's no way. They don't even spam. They're just all the way up, and it's all for free here. Paranoia, Flash, it's all offloaded, concatenated, out and over the top as well. It's down to Tens to hold it, locking it down. In through the back, the reset is magnanimous. This guy will not be stopped. He denies any attempt to take that A site.
The fans holded it so well.
Gen G left scrambling. They should have had that. A dash into sight, an amazing flash from Zelsis to actually push them back just a moment. And Tens recovers after immediately being blinded in the midst of that exec. He's left on the floor in a 2v4.
That's what Sentinels needed. They're holding this one steady, giving up most of the A sites. Rifles are swapped around, noise is being made. Plant not even pushed back here, so Karen will be able to get that extension into the round, and got a feel with Gen G. That's sometimes dangerous. You don't want to give them those options and opportunities. Oh, no. Karen inside the smoke, not being cleared out, dodging, weaving, TPing away, still being watched for Meteor. 1v2. Meteor cannot land it. The transfer almost intact, but eventually it's Sentinels who paved the way to a victory.
And thankfully for Sentinels, all of Ten's hard work does not get discarded at the final hour. So they bring that gap down to 3. A little bit of damage done, not too bad for the Sen economy, but they're going to take a tactical timeout here.
It's the first one of the match.
Really beautiful play from Tens, must be said. Second is struggling. I didn't even realize at this point, to be honest with you, because I felt like he was getting into sights fairly well. but he's 5 and 13.
Yeah, struggling quite a bit.
And Zeken's one of those players that, yeah, from a map-to-map basis, on the bottom of the scoreboard,
it's got to be on half.
It's also been running
through the back of it. See if they make a go of it. Of course, not running a Killjoy. It's going to be gaps potentially there. We'll see if Sentinels are able to cover it.
Just to look at the other side of the map as well. Recon Dart finally thrown out 20 seconds into the round. Because if you throw it out early, the Viper Wall is really disguising it. Zeken almost caught contact, and Munchkin's lurked his way up again. I'm not sure which one's even going to be the game changer here, A or C.
Oh, 10's going for the peak as well as Barrels pointing out, trying to bait a shot out. There's no way. There's absolutely no way Munchkin can be blessed like this. Once more! He's working magic over towards the A site. We're watching a bloody repeat. He's opened it up and calls for the TP. Immediate pivot. Caron, he's straight there with him. Turret broken down into mid here, but the A site is theirs. Now with Texture removing John. The mid avenue completely opened up. Uncertainty into the back of Sentinel's minds, but they want to go this one thick and fast. Playing forwards here, at least with the dart in hand, and the rifles are not doing enough. It's Sassy and Zelsis up against the world. They're not being given even an easy fight in the slightest. The movement ajar, forced to save. Zelsis backing away.
And that is a brutal decision for Sentinels. Not one that they could have won at all, but their economy's going to be in a really rough state. Zelsis has got a bit of money, so has John. The rest of the team, dirt poor. Think about the way that Munchkin is getting space down short, right? If Sassy throws a recon dart at the start over towards A lobby, Munchkin's just going to play around his wall, and he's going to dodge it, and you're not going to get any good information. In fact, you might even get bad info and think it's cleared when it's not. So they need a different way of being able to get information there. You're either going to have to re-clear with the Sova drone from short, or you're going to have Zeken fight that. And Sentinels have not chosen either option. For all that they've got the rounds really close here, I think there's a ton of things that Sen could improve on this map if they ended up rematching Gen.G later on in the tournament here. Or if they can figure it out mid-game.
Early spam goes either way here. Zeken's dropped down to 48 health. Still ice cold. Watching for any sort of mid-presence.
One of those spots where you might want to just give the gun over to, to your teammate. It's rough, though, because Zeken really wanted to try to get aggro, but with only 48 health, what can you do?
And already the space is taken up here by Gen.G. Another perfect read.
Munchkin's IGLing, it is magnificent. I think people maybe didn't credit it as much at the start of the year, but defense side hard reads, attack side he finds the gaps so often.
These lurks on top of it, it's
incredible.
all coming together. This guy is just, he's a beast right now this entire year.
He really has been.
Deep flash, forward line onto Texture, but there's plenty more util where that came from, buckets of it. Paranoia for a paranoia, just pushes them back and away. Sentinels be lucky to get anything. Still, Caron, drop towards the back. Texture, phantom play! And that's a 4-piece, ace stolen away!
Another ace!
Gotta feel for him, man. You gotta feel for him.
This has been happening in Pacific over and over again. The last ace that Texture got was in April, man. He's had 12 4Ks.
Smiling. Oh my God.
He's had 12 4Ks since his last ace. Look at him. This one should have been it.
It should have been it. It should have been it.
Should have finally ended.
He's so funny.
Oh man.
I do love Texture. But can Sentinels find an answer? Now that they've got rifles back in hand, the gap has opened up to 5. It's almost looking insurmountable. It has to be now.
It has to shift now, doesn't it? Updraft, dash, up and over. Flash to follow it up as well. Nobody's in sight lines of Texture. It's given up almost entirely, and it's put the squeeze onto the Sentinels player. They heard all that util. They don't know which way to look, and they can't even get the kill drips online. Full line, that's a potential team utility to just colliding and clashing into them. Hunter's Fury, it's panicked, it's offloaded, and desperation does not work out for Sentinels, not this time. They did not know how to react to that.
Very nice pathing to bring out in a crucial round, and Texture's looking to close it.
And he's just showing his face. Right click, but followed up by Lakia. That's the 12th round. And Gen G one step now. It's all they have to take to lock up this map.
And I think if there was one round you could point to show that divergence of trajectories we were talking about at the start of this cast, where Gen G have just gone from success to success, building on their grand finals appearance at Madrid, compared to Sentinels, who've struggled really to recapture that magic. I think this round would be it. A beautiful call, fantastic pathing, and Sentinels scrambling, their protocols falling to pieces. Second tactical timeout now used by Sen.
Yeah.
They've been short against that. Also some kind of early peak.
Yes, this should do.
A lot of players going to be watching Gen G. That's Paranoia primed and ready in case there is that early aggression. Contact plays are called. And this is Gen G looking for that closer. No signs over towards Garage. Instead, they set it over towards the B site. Celsius is watching this. Smoke up in his face. Flash up and over, Karen with a TP, and even a committal to the plan, but that's an aftershock to push him back and away. Dash still there, Zekken spots it. Here's the one, but nobody's giving him an easy fight. Meteor dashing and backing away, still with his B-side control. Texture, he's put straight past it! And in front of that fault line, still won't survive. At least with the trade there. Flash in and through, over the back, 4v4. Plant down, Norofef gives him that information, and a sight hold might be exactly what Gen G are looking to cook up. Munchkin still with that orb up in their face. Dart and a Paranoia follows through, flooding back and away. Sight players cleared up, rolling thunder, committed now to the front. Sentinels have got to try and strike, at least when he irons hard, and try and find these kills. There's one, two left to deal with, finding them one after another.
Nice.
Around exactly when they needed it, just as Gen G had got up to map point.
That was good.
We saw the same level of ideas from Gen G there. Going for the B exec, okay, that gets stunted by an aftershock from Zelsis. Let's try to pivot and crunch the player's garage. That also gets shut down by Zelsis. Then the breach ult is online. It's just a massive round from the Vibes Merchant. Selling wins as well here, but he needs to be doing more of it. The whole team needs to be doing more of it. It's not just down to him.
No, I can't really focus on individuals, despite the fact, you know, Zekken is sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard. It's been a while since he even got a kill. It's more just the ideas going to miss. Come to offer any sort of bailout.
At the same time, you do want to be putting your duelist in a position to influence the round, right? And so the fact that we haven't really seen Zekken in those spots is a bit concerning. You know, again here, he's looking to try to find fights over towards B, and Gen G are heading in a different direction.
Trailblazer is never getting broken. It's just being given free reign to clear the way. Give space for Gen G.
I think you're worried in that kind of spot if you break the Trailblazer. The Texture's right behind it.
And that's an interesting peek. Still Zekken makes the adjustment.
There's
Snaps
the
it to the
value.
cranium, and there is the value. It had to come about through that sheer mechanical skill.
Here comes Munchkin. He's trying one of these classic A-lurks. Tens has been watching for it. He refuses to get duped again.
But there's a chance for the timings to be missed here. And which way is it going to look? Adjustment again. Mirrored plays from Tens and Zekken. Pushes Gen G back. It's just lurks and lurks. Yeah.
It's the same again. Lurk up A and lurk up C at the same time. One gets broken, the other doesn't.
Yeah. Trip broken. Meteor, he's got an open side for them.
30 seconds left.
A 3v5 though, Brent. They're not going to close out the map here, surely.
But it's Gen G. You never know with this team. They really shouldn't.
Full breach utility for Zelsis. Sassy's going to have recon coming back online, but you probably don't want to wait for it.
And there's the first Shocky. Preemptive, at least with the debt, so one of the Nana Swarms is off. Meteor finds it, still traded. Charon, that's a sweep from behind here now. The backstab, but maybe just pushing back and away. Lakia needs support and he needs help if this is even going to be doable. Flash in through the box, smoke is up in his face. A tap in his way, that's a bit of spam to follow up. Charon, and now a lot more to do. Spike being defused, stuck fully, and Tens there to defend him. Sentinels are still alive in this map. They're not going to be going down one map just yet.
6 chances for Gen G to close, now down to 4. The Sentinels pick up 2 retakes, both times happy to allow Gen G to get into the site, but then making sure that they deal with any extraneous threats. I mean, in this situation, they had a big player advantage too. It was a nice shot from Zekken. He's going to now pick up the Operator heading into round 21. This is, I think, the first time that we've seen him with an op in hand, right?
Yeah.
He had 2 Outlaws earlier.
It's definitely been rough for them to salvage that money together, but he's found many targets. Still a smoke in his face. We'll push him back. Not going to be given that early sight line. Texture's even watching just in case he is updraft up onto the box. They don't like what they see. And they got to know that the money is available for that operator. It should be at the back of their minds as long as they're looking at the scoreboard.
That flash, down A short, and now the Trailblazer indicating that Munchkin did not find an early timing. Sentinels were not sure, but now they should have a good idea that this is actually the pack of Gen G.
How do you anchor it? Locked down, it's unconventional. Doesn't really stretch all the way out towards this A side. Sassy, drone, spots it. They're wondering if this is potentially fake pressure. Tens overstaying it, just about escaping. 50 HP though, and now it's being fully committed. The molly at their feet as well. They are separating these players, picking them apart. Nobody is allowed to anger this site. Instead of an execute, the pin drop down, man. And Tens has got to make a play. He's already found it, whipping it around. Meteor, rifle in hand, leaving it to the two. And only the Blade Storm. A rifle for John QT. They're going to need to be handed a couple of easy kills, but Meteor will not give them anything at all. A 4K to finish up the map. Haven is theirs.
Sentinels with a map pick that I think made some degree of sense. They had the VOD advantage, the tape advantage, and could try to anti-strap what.
They were undefeated on it in Stage 2 of Pacific. Very few teams have been able to beat them. So it is going to be the kind of comps that both teams have been running with. And for Sentinels, I think for me, the biggest thing about Deadlock is you have to be... It almost, in a weird way, reminds me of Yoru, where it requires a tremendous amount of coordination and a tremendous amount of discipline to play it properly, but if you can pull it off, it looks amazing.
I think Deadlock is really strong on the attacking sides, how you can stop flood defenses, how you can set up those sensors to really build incredibly strong post plants. But on the defense, I think that Gen G's style plays well against it. We saw this when G2 played Sentinels. The slow default style, working around the utility, breaking it down. I think Gen G is good at that, but Sentinels have a lot of tools. This is a comp that only has one VOD out.
Yes, bench away from.
I think currently for teams at the event,
Let's
they
see
look
who
so
will
damn
win
good
this
for Sentinels. As much as there's not been a lot of tape on them with this comp, it is not a good map right now for them. They have to come out with some miracles, and it has to start here with the pistol round.
They've gone for that double sheriff approach.
And a double fight out through, straight from tiles. Does not work out in their favor. Play at disadvantage now.
Munchkin figuring out, how can I go for a lurk against this? It's a decent counter to what Munchkin was doing on the previous map, but also the fact that the wall is used so early. Generally, you want to be playing slow attack sides against the Deadlock, and the wall struggles to get value.
Lakia might be considering a drone up close here. John, is that a grab net? Slow down the approach here. There's a flash overhead as well, but now looking to try and anchor back and away. Sassy supplementing it. Couple of shots now fired off and wrestled in through the smoke. No punish just yet. Still dropping down low, but it all lays down now into the lap of John QT. What can he do? A lot of players now here in the drop down, skipping a hot right through, and it does set up the bait and switch. Charon happy to oblige, straight in there. Now the plant coming online.
Zelsis coming around behind as well. Are they going to think about B main when they just exec from this?
That's right. It should be nice. Not quite. Munchkin was the only one to actually collect any sort of B main presence. Now walking his way through, baiting, Texture, dropping back and away, Texture and Charon. These guys have been difference makers. And once more, they've got to stand to the test here. The dart is avoided and dodged to the back, and the shots just not connecting for Sassy. Only 4 HP and a dream it will just remain to be. It's a pistol round for Gen G. Nothing out of the ordinary for this squad.
Not at all. 3 out of 3 in the series. I think it would be wrong to say that Haven came down to the pistol rounds. I think Gen G were the better team there. But an entire series where you don't win pistols is almost impossible to win. Sen need to be working on these. They didn't get a good beginning to it, and Gen G managed to close it out there towards the end as well, just hitting good shots. Double body shots all over the place with those sheriffs.
Gamble here by Sentinels. Knife not dodged just by Zelsis, I believe. He's the only one who looks like he is suppressed right now. Hoping that Gen G might just walk into it, but
Yeah.
Listen, they weren't born yesterday, but this team are too diligent.
It's quite a nice trap play, though, because if the cam is found over towards B, you're expecting trap plays to be run off the Cypher cam usually. And this one's off deadlock contact. So I think there's a chance that it gets value, especially considering Munchkin and Karen's positioning. But right now, they're not taking an inch.
No. No steps forwards. Waiting it out. Making either team stew, to be honest. It's a series of unknowns going through their heads.
And as TenZ takes contact, this whole trap is going to fall to pieces.
Paranoia in his hands. He's jiggling out with the util. Does get a good connection. Three players going to be pushed back and away, and a TP as well for himself. Just to disengage. GravNet calling. The play is made. Karon! You got to be joking. Just with that Sheriff in hand. Goodness me. Even when the ideas are good, even when they try and go for the preemptive strike, it's still not good enough. I got to see that again. Show it from his POV or something, man. I mean,
the amount of 4Ks that we're seeing coming out from Gen G as well, where one player just steps up and takes over the round. Yeah. Karen's got 8 kills already. What on earth are we watching? And that means they've got 3 rifles for the bonus too. I mean, take a look at these shots. GravNet comes out.
Listen, dude, I mean, come on. I know it's against an eco, but still, as a GravNet, he's locked down in place.
Yeah.
He's ice cold.
It jumped out.
Sentinels Odin comes online for Sassy. He can try to reinforce the B site. It's super difficult to get through right now. A nice shock dart from Lakia as well, getting rid of that sonic sensor. I don't think John pulled it back in time. B looks devastatingly difficult to hit though, especially if Sassy was Odin wallbanging this, but he is rotating off.
Timing potentially missed there for Sentinels up through mid. Gen G has the makings of a B split, putting a lot of pressure and asks onto Zelsis.
Right, so the cam covers this. Off cam contact, Sassy can spam, but it's not a great spam angle. It's good for damage, not good for kills usually.
That tags onto Zelsis. The setup is going to be dropped down and away here, walking through.
I say that.
Sassy, bit of spam damage. Just through the choke point. Gen G's still going to get easy access though to that B site. So Plant will be online and inside for them second. Biding his time, hoping that somebody will just open themselves up, but as the doors drop down, Texture! Oh! You gotta be joking!
You're not allowed to do that!
There's no way! Running and gunning inside the Cloudburst. Taking names. 4v4. Too much to clear, surely. Meteor crouched up. This is unorthodox in terms of the angle, and of course it is! Rips them all away!
Dismantling all of the trap setups here, taking out the cam early, making sure that Sassy doesn't have that wallbang spot. He goes over, gets a kill in the other side, and then Gen G are pulling kills out of really unexpected spots. The one from Texture, I'm sorry, that one's illegal. That one is illegal. But Meteor's play as well, it's so nice. They've got Karen ready to back him up if indeed he needed it. Yeah. Texture is also there playing aggro. It's not just a solo play, that. And yet, even if it was a solo play, he still would have won the round for them. That's the power of this Gen G team.
Right here.
Each of their players has got such a nice read on the game. And I think we don't remember enough what player development they've done too. Meteor was a bit of an all-aim, no-brain duelist player before he joined this team.
Certainly was.
Now, all of the aim, and a brain to match.
Yeah, and a team as well that's just right there beside him. All on the same page. Cooking up plays together. They're aware of just any obstacles that might face them as well. You can see it just the way that they even approach rounds like this. It's against an eco round. A lot of teams will sometimes just run it straight into a site, full disrespect. But Gen G, they slow it down. They make sure that they can methodically try and pick apart what at least Sentinels are doing. If there were any concerns, I think, about Gen G potentially being shaky and home soil and a home crowd, listen, that was kind of pushed back at Shanghai when they were literally the villains. All the way through, it's an open side again over towards A.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, what incredible range of emotions that they will have experienced in their last 2 international events. Madrid, a crowd that was neutral towards them. Shanghai, a crowd that disdained them, I think. And then here, where they're the hometown heroes.
The idols, man, on the big stage.
I was walking in today, and as they rolled up, some fans, it's like the back of the building where people don't really, you know, think to come. It's not like Gen G announced what time they were going to arrive at the venue.
Yeah.
People, fans from Seoul, clustered, watching them exit the van, screaming at the Gen G players. This team is popular out here.
Absolutely.
And they'll be even more popular if they have a big run at champs, or even if we can dare to dream, if they can dare to dream, lift the trophy.
They've already done it once. First time it's been done for Pacific. That was Gen G who did it. Despite the expectations, I think most of us were probably looking towards a team like PaperX, maybe even DRX at points to be that team. But they've had a crazy story from the beginning of this year where the expectations were honestly at their lowest here, and a lot's going to be asked for again of 10 to smoke down. What is that? Adjustment and expectation for Texture, but he's already in through the site, and the main players happy to fire through and follow up on all of it. So despite the heroics, it might not even be enough here for Sentinels. No command. Supers its way, but finally fading, and now a very deep lockdown is going to be used by Meteor. Drone broken, slight tag, double faced up and out, but just missing a shot.
Are they even going to get out?
I don't know. Detainment on the three. Yeah, or three.
All three
time to hunt. It's time to chase. They know it. They can feel it. Texture. Time waits out. Oh my! Barely skirting away. It's going to be a comedic finish at around here, potentially. A punishment in sight. There's still time here for Sentinels to make a play towards this one, but second retaken with the operator again adds another level of difficulty. It's all about how they manage this one as well. That late backstab that might be occurring from Meteor. Is it going to be caught? Zelsis sticking out onto the fuse, half already. He's brought that win con, covering for it over the shoulder. Zelsis dropping him.
There is no way
That's ridiculous.
that Sentinels have just won a round where all three of the retakers got detained. There is no way that I just watched that. There's no chance. I must have got something wrong. Surely that was John Cutie's ultimate. What? The brain is baffled and befuddled.
It all started with tens. This guy here, I said he's going to have to do a lot there in that spot, and he did. He delivered. He got the two that was needed. And as soon as the detainment wasn't followed up on, offered up an easy kill onto Texture.
I mean, it's not like Texture really could have followed up on it, I don't think.
It was so far away.
All right, so that's a bizarre round for Sentinels to get on the board. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that one again. Certainly not replicable, if you want to talk about that. But they keep the Odin. It's magnificent for their economy, which could have been shattered.
Always a way. Start gassing up a team in terms of the storylines about them lifting trophies, and then watch the fumble in place. Operator held, but not the back. Still a few shots fired off as well. That drone has to be broken. Celsius locks it down, holds the line, and now evacuates back and away. An adjustment of a bullet straight through the wall, and spam from the Odin will supplement all. That is it. Sentinels, complete control of this B site. Spike drop down, and with the trip alerting them exactly to where Munchkin's presence is. It's another round that's inevitable here for Sentinels, and at least that second one, Justin Flick missed, at least with the op.
It is inevitable.
It should be. Unless you give him the ones. We're blinded up. Ten's happy to just jump on the chance and pounces straight into mid. So maybe this is what we were looking for from Sentinels.
That was a better defensive setup. When you're running a Cypher deadlock composition, I think most of the time you're going to be wanting to try to hit them as they come through choke points or as they hit your utility. You're looking to follow up on trips, on stuns, to op them or Odin them before they even exit and get into the site. That's one of the rounds where we actually see Sentinels comp functioning. And because Zelsis was able to win a really crucial duel against Meteor too. So what have Gen G got? It's going to be Zekken looking towards top mid, hoping they can get a cheeky one at the beginning against somebody like Meteor.
Drone up though. This will push him back. It needs to be broken by the rifle fire, but it's not done in time. And almost a punishment there. It was an over the top with the knife, almost getting that suppression off. He wouldn't have been able to escape.
Look at this deep trip though. The trip is not where that shock dart just went for it. It's all the way close towards mid. Almost right where Meteor's back was.
Yeah, so luckiest shock darts that he's fired off, offloaded into mid. Not going to be getting too much value. Tens has to use the TPs, barely out of dodge. Annihilation, there's a connection. Molly down and
that's
through.
the spike.
Texture has to drop them. He's through and out. They're going to try and flood themselves in. Gen G Happy to fight them straight back at you. Second, Bladestorm now increasing that tempo and even offered up a rifle. Charon now with the plant. 2v3. Dart fired off. No reveals in sight, but jumps round and through and away with a right click. Zekken, he's on his way to an ace. Lucky in his back pocket. At least with that Hunter's Fury, he's got that backup plan and policy. Charon still going to be nested up, holding deep tucked onto the A side. It's a difficult player to try and clear. And Sentinels now making a call to double up. They don't have a dart. It's 20 seconds until that arrives, and it's going to be too late if they try and wait this one out and through. Time already ticking. Smoke is just mind games from Charon, making them spam away, and they got to stick this one here, and they still haven't found it. Wincons are just dashed away to the win. Time? And there is no time. Ticking at this point. Sassy knows it. Gen G with their 5th.
We are seeing some ridiculous situations out here. Watching Lakia be taking out Karen with the Hunter's Fury towards the end, but just making sure that Sovarot was in play, just in case his Smokes player fell in hell. Gen G take another one. And this is a round where it looked like Sentinels, again, their system was working. They got the Annihilation off. It grabbed a player with the spike. But I don't think they were anticipating as heavily that it was an A split and someone could retrieve that player. Pulled out of Shelob's grasp at the final moment. And we're into the next round, where Munchkin, I think, is the player to watch here. That null command is spectacularly powerful against Sentinel's composition. And you see here that John has put his stuns on the exact opposite side of the map.
I'm hoping if the ult does get ripped off out towards the A site, they'll be able to at least play around, like you said, the sensors, the stuns.
In some sense, Zelsis is the bait here. He kind of wants to be seen, be shown, and then you run into A and forget about the deadlock util.
Right here.
Knife over the top. That's a tag out through main. Darts. Meteor barely alive. Dyson with death there, buddy. Drop down to 8 health. Will be able to survive, though, and now regroup with the rest of his team.
A split, null command. Watch out for these sensors.
Yeah. The pressure's going to be on immediately. What have they got to even answer this? Flash clear. Cam over the top here. No command as well as the dart. Does reveal all. Both players, in fact. Tens and Zelsis, the position is noted. Recognized, stunned up, but there's no follow-up. Tens, he can't take these easy fights. He's worried about it. He's swung from main as well, picked it apart. I mean, methodical is what you call that. Gen G, there was no easy access, no fair fight to be taken for the anchoring players. Dodging and weaving the entire way through.
The Gen G protocols on the attack, when they hit the A site, they're magnificent. They're always guns out, not scaling too deep into the site, holding, waiting for that peek from the defender, holding heaven, waiting for the backup to arrive. You know, making sure that they're not caught in transition, running forward, trying to rush things.
It's the little jiggles of movement, just trying to bait them out, and it just makes the anchoring players feel so alone.
Yeah. You don't know if someone's going to run at you from left side, from right side Jenny. You don't know if someone's going to run at you from Dice. And the whole time, Genji are actually just making you afraid, making you swing, and then ready to punish you. It's really excellent stuff. All the best teams in the world are going to have some level of that approach to the A site, but Genji looking perfect with it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, anyway, that makes them best in the world on this map. I think they're demonstrating it here. You're noticing as well that the deadlock, I gotta say, it's finding very little value.
Yeah.
The walls, it's difficult to find a good timing to use that mesh barrier, or barrier mesh, sorry, because Munchkin's happy to call a slow round where it just expires. So if you use it in the mid round, okay, that's fine, but Genji are probably going to pivot in another direction.
Yeah.
And the stuns, I mean, in that round, null command comes through. There's double stuns on site.
But it doesn't matter.
No possibility of a follow-up.
It just doesn't matter.
At that point, they're cosmetic.
Yeah. And Tens, when that hit was coming through, not sure what ended up happening. Even if he had smokes available, I think null command would have stretched past him, would have prevented him from being able to lock off that anchoring main side. But you can feel it when he doesn't have the util available, when they're all cut off and away and suppressed. They had no option. They couldn't take the fight by swinging out from Gen to try and play off the stuns in the first place. Gen G looking unstoppable on Ascent, as we were all kind of expecting.
I think there are things that Sentinels can adjust here, though. First of all, they could try doing some reclays over towards A main with Gravnet and a Paranoia, something like that. Alternatively, if they wanted to fight over tree control, that would be another good adaptation, I think, because Gen G have been doing a lot of A splitting.
Yeah.
And the other thing they could try to do is tuck Zekken in the box at back heaven with his operator.
Well, you say that.
When the hit comes through, he's there ready to collect.
They are pinging that spot already, Gen G, heading into this round.
I think that's because Karen is about to ult over there, though.
Okay, all right. Show me something, Gen G. Show me what you've been cooking. Well, might be that potential for it to spot out these players. Early Paranoia lets him take that control out towards A. Tens in through Wine. He's in danger, though. Has to dodge and around. Wait, can't survive it. Karen out the back. John QT. That's a bullet to the brain. With him dropped off now, there's possibilities and options are now opening themselves here for Sentinels. The barrier mesh not to be broken. Doesn't even stop the bullets as well. Still with those sight lines just being set by these Sentinels players. Zekken's got it.
Great adaptation from Sen. Surely Gen G can't recover it.
There's no way.
I mean, John is stuck here.
They know where he is. There's now no swarm to try and clear him out of that corner.
If it hadn't missed, John would be a dead man.
And he has called for the reinforcements. 2 players ready to at least swing off of his contact. Dart is broken here and through John. Finally delivering the reset from Meteor. Not enough to see he can at least find a way to pave his way to that victory in the round. So Sentinels are still alive. For now, it feels like almost every single round is just on the precipice. It's almost incredibly labored, but they are managing to string them together.
Yeah, and I think you got to credit the tactical timeout there. They get Tens into Wine. Could he have been cleared? Absolutely. Should Texture have maybe waited a second for the fragment grenade to come through? Yeah, also. Yeah. But Tens does get the value from his positioning there. And on top of that, there are multiple layers of backup. John is fighting it. Zekken's got the op there too. And now Zekken makes his way over with the operator to Cat. Like I said, this is a spot that Gen G have been walking down. If they feel bold enough to go for something where, you know, they can smoke off tiles and have him peek towards top mid, Zekken could try to get more bold than he is. Problem is, normally you need teammates to help you, and this is quite a passive comp.
Yeah.
You don't have a KO player or a Killjoy player that really wants to be holding angles for your op.
Gen G just trying to sow a bit of confusion into this round. They've already inserted Charon right at the beginning. He has a main control. And now looking to see if they can break some of this util towards B, farm up the orbs.
And if he does farm the orb, he'll have the null command.
Are you going to try and fake this one or what? No, Texture's back up towards top mid.
Because Munchkin didn't have ult to start the round, Xelsis is not in an anti-KO ult spot. You know, both Sentinels are playing next to their utility, which means null command is used and all of it goes offline.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to worry about that one when looking like it's heading towards that A side as well, again being called. But it's 30 seconds now into the round. It's getting a bit, I think, a little bit tight here in terms of the timing for Gen G. They have to make a good go of things, and it's all expected. Stack of players of Sentinels.
First time the wall's in the right spot.
Yeah, and there it is, dropping them off. Here with an ult command. It's going to be sweeping through now. Dark around to the side. Texture is not watched for. This guy was already just fast up onto the line, and with all the util down, again, you might as well roll out the red carpet. Plant down now. Gen G are ready. They've got the protocols in place just in case there are signs of that util. Meteor holding it tucked up close as well. There's no follow-up. Again, still up and over. Able to trade it. The door into their face and a full sight defense occurring here by Gen G. Nobody looking to try and repurpose out through A main. Everybody locked onto the sites here, but the one way they choose to fight this one. They want to hold it down, and again, this retake is getting more and more difficult. Dart immediately dealt with. Time is ticking away. Sentinels running out of those options. Double up, high-low. Gonna try and push them back and away. Lakia, last one left, and he will fall in the end. So, just in time here for Sentinels, I believe.
Yeah, only about a second on the clock, though.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Yeah, right on the money.
A good round from Sen there in terms of how they squeezed Gen G. That pressure coming through, double swing over towards Heaven, making sure that they dominate that angle. The Gen G players in the post plant couldn't hold it, ended up giving that up and tucking into positions like Dice and Hell. At that point, Sen have found their opportunity. Crucial kill. And Gen G gonna take their first tactical timeout of the match.
Wow.
Their first tac timeout of champs. Coming in round 11 of map 2. Even if they get a good adjustment out of this, you know, they're not going to put together a much better attack half on Ascent. 6 rounds is already astonishingly good.
Yeah.
But it must be said, the Cypher Deadlock comps, they tend to perform counterintuitively better on attack.
All the ways to try and fight for that extremity control. You know, you can lay down sensors, much like they're trying to do, at least Sentinels, on their own defense. But yeah, it's a, you know, quite a few unknowns, I think, of how Sentinels might be looking, at least with this composition. Tier 2, North America, has been playing this comp a lot. There's a lot of footage, a lot of playmaking possibilities as well, if John QT has been doing his homework, at least with the Annihilations and whatnot, grab net reclears.
Yeah, and I just want to say for a moment that Zekken has rebounded from bottom of the scoreboard to the top. If you look at him all year long, Zekken has been amazing. Like I said, getting better and better all year. Tens has been consistently at the top, even though they didn't make Shanghai. Zels has still been good. It's actually been John who's dropped off in terms of his fragging, his output a little bit, compared to his astonishingly strong Madrid performance, where they lifted that trophy. I'm paying attention to John and how he gets his rifle impact in a lot of these rounds here at Champs.
Zekken not caught in the transition there, just trying to exit out of Wine, and there's plenty more players where that came from. Gen G, we're going to try and go into this one. Fast tempo, increase 10s, taken out. Zekken followed up to trade in sight. Only gets the one down, which was Texture. Dart revealing quite a few of them. Locked down by Meteor. This is unconventional.
I like it though. You know, we saw Sentinels before get 3 detained and still win the round. They're in a 3v4 situation here though, and this should allow a great plan. I mean, this one also planted for short. If they wanted to send somebody on a wraparound,
very heads up.
Perhaps Lakia is going to take that option.
Right here.
Comes around here. Drone's going to be used again. Set that stage here. Tag up, got to remove it. It's first piece of util for it, but Gen G, stalwart defense that they've really cooked up here now that they've at least taken control of the site. Look at that. As soon as they hear the footsteps and the util, it's a dart and Spam out from below, and already the players have repositioned. Spike is ticking away, and Sentinels realize it. Has to be that save, have to back away.
One enemy remaining.
How many rounds do Sentinels need, even if they were able to get pistol, their first of the match, and be able to carry some momentum forwards on their attack half? I think anybody that wants to see Sen recover on Ascent here, gotta be hoping that they get this round 12.
Yeah.
It's looking dire without it. An 8-4 half, not unusual on Ascent, but it's usually the other way around, where you get your defenders in the lead.
With how dominant Gen G have been on the pistol rounds, you know, if it follows the same course, you're looking at like an 8-4 turning into a 10-4.
Yeah, and at that point, it's just curtains.
Yeah.
There's no recovery there. Zelsis coming into this round with a broken economy, Stinger, Guardian, but they still have those big heavy hitter weapons of the Op and Odin.
It's a weird buy. Bit
It
of a
is.
mixture.
Second hasn't been able to really walk in front of these smokes, keeps getting pushed back and back. But he is getting the kills.
Take flight.
Love the util to clear our mid here. Sassy with the drone. Good timing on it. But the question is, do they hear that most of Gen G are already up in through Cat? Straight through the smoke. Disrespect is being shown by them. Sentinels do have stay main control. Shot missing. John now with the barrier mesh. Looking to lock them out of this spot here, but it will be spammed down. There's a nade in sight, but no smoke for the cross. Only popped down a little bit too late there. So Zekken happy to pick them apart. 10's ADS up. Can't quite manage it. I mean, it's Caron.
And the stun does nothing in A main.
Push them back and away. Gen G slowing it down, getting quirky with these timings. There's a stun. They can hear the sensors. Texture removes one of them. So much uncertainty. Rapid into their heads. They spot the player. Texture shoulder just peeking out, and yet still squares up to it. The challenge is met. And now drop down onto the site. Options thoroughly opened. Gen G having to take their timing with it. You can look at the peak timing, but still missing with the shot as well. He can't quite do it. Has to pull out the shorty. Zekken, not a chance. Doesn't stand it. And leaves it to just 2. Munchkin is low. Could be an opening. Lakia will fall.
This
Stinger
is
movement in play.
So doable for Sentinels. The health advantage is massive.
Now picking up the upgrade too with a rifle. Cam should be clearing at least a portion of it, but you don't know there's blind spots. Munchkin peeks. They know where he is. 4 seconds until the dart. Spamming away into hell. Just in case that reposition is there. That round towards the back, they spot the main player out, they're all falling low, and again it has to be Munchkin as that playmaker finds the one! Peak in timing, off of it, only 5 bullets left, but a tap from Sassy as well. It's all so unlikely.
Home territory of Seoul, home territory of Ascent. I think showcasing that they really are the best in the world on this map.
Yeah.
There wasn't so much an exec in that final round as they just walked up with an operator.
Still found the openings though. I mean, listen, this team is so good at picking apart all sorts of it. And for the pistol round, that's what we're looking towards. Gen G, indomitable so far. Gen G
Seem to have beaten Gen G internationally. And while that might feel like it's a positive on the side of Sen, it also speaks to the fact that Gen G got cleanly out of Swiss and stomped through Shanghai. That's a scary, scary team on the other side of the stage. And they're 8-4 up, 5 rounds away from being able to move on in their group.
Yeah. Let's take a look then. Sentinels. They're the ones that have to be the playmakers. Gen G also going for a bit of a proactive play. The Towers crunch on the pistol.
They love running set plays on the defense side, Gen G. They will constantly try to push the tempo up. Happy to play retake.
Yeah.
Against this comp, though, I don't think they should be too happy to play retake. You're going to be running into, Gravnet, trips, stuns.
For now, though, the util is going to be lacking ever so slightly onto the pistol. Zelsis forced to lock down. Watch this flank angle. Just gets barely the 2 shots off. Not enough to drop care on. So the trade is there, but Zekken taking a cheeky peek. Up through heaven, clears that one out, and now has to be aware that there is that flank occurring. Watchful eyes perched up, probably a high-low as well, and the smoke make it nice and easy. Karen trying to at least split up the site, create that timing and opening for Meteor, potentially there. He's already out though, and the players are straight through and out, and a whiff might cost them still. Dart forwards, forces the issue out of texture, and they do clean it up, so Sentinels, a pistol round under their belt, maybe something to work with.
First of the series could not have come at a better time, a more needed time. It probably would have been game over had they lost that one.
Yeah.
Beautiful dart as well from Sassy. They immediately dominated those smokes that Karen threw out there, which I think is the correct play. The dart forced somebody in. Sassy deals with them. He's having a good game today, Sassy. They're going to need more than this, though. We've seen teams utilizing this Cypher Deadlock composition. You kind of piece by piece take the map. Take a main, throw down a sonic sensor, take a little bit of extra space, put your trip into position or something.
That's a fight to be taken here. Nader defeat, though. Has to push them back in a way, at least with the rifle spam. Able to take down another of these Gen G players, but he might have just done enough damage. Still, weapons are going to be exchanged, making sure that there's no waste.
And any Gen G pushes on other parts of the map should be able to be identified. You're always going to be running into a trip or a cam or somebody watching the flank.
Okay,
what is that timing?
Pure instinct from Caron. He's TP'd in a way. There's a slight gap.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, he's caught.
You're stuck.
It's still Sentinels choose not to commit. I think they've seen enough bodies there. Signs of life from Gen G that they call this pause. They do have 45 seconds. You can't let anything else slip, though, if you are Sentinels. It's a 3v3 in a crossfire setup. Baiting the shots. Caron's there. Meteor alongside it. Do not lose this one, Sentinels. Your best chance in a bloody long time, and you got to clean it up. Lakia left alone. 20 seconds. Still, they don't know where this guy is, but the door's going to be closing. Nobody stepping past it. Just spots defeat. Breaking the door, trying to take the fight. It's a little bit uncertain, man. I mean, okay, they do get the anti-eco, but at the cost of losing 3 of their players, 3 of their guns is not going to be a healthy bonus.
I mean, you saw it on the faces there of Zelsis and Sassy. They're both wiping their brow, literally. I know it's hot in here. Golden Boy talked about it before. It is warm in Korea right now. But that one's more of a sign of relief than a sign of the heat. Sen closed the gap to 2, but the bonus is not going to look pretty. They only kept the Phantom, Guardian. They've got a Stinger to work with here. It's not much. A bit of damage, maybe even just building up to one of these ults like the Annihilation for John so that he could maybe work a pick in round 16. These are the kind of things that would be a success in the round, I think, for Sen.
Flash peek. Smoke though from, he's pushed up in front of Karen's face. Not able to get value, just being held by the Sentinels players. They don't have particularly spread out D4, but they do have somebody utility cam and a trip to hold deep B push.
Yeah, we're seeing Sentinels take A main, but they're not actually leaving utility there. Normally with this composition, I would expect to see Sonic Sensor be put down there, or some kind of, you know, trip, or leave a player, deposit somebody into A main.
Yeah.
Now they're going back in though. Sassy looking to try to drone and disguise the fact.
Yeah, Sentinels trying to make this one feel like it could potentially be that B split.
Yeah, that's a weird one, because they faked a B split as they were droning A.
Right, so Gen.G are kind of aware of this one. Munchkin is an off angle, and he's got to deliver. Will do with the first. Cage in his face, preemptive spam will lay claim to a multitude of kills. And it leaves it just down to 10s, up and over, not enough. Can't overcome it.
That Champions Trophy blinks into and out of existence, floating, tinting, taunting the players. Rifles back online though for Sen. An opportunity for them to showcase what they've been working on. We haven't seen them play too much of this map.
No.
But we've seen the Cypher Deadlock. We know that it's got at least some good fundamentals to work on. Gonna need to see Zellsis trading out stuff like this though.
Yeah, there's gonna be an early fight occurring into this next round. Tiles beat out by Texture.
The Cypher should be able to take a little more aggro B main control as well.
Cage triggered.
Trip broken, Zellsis not ready for that one. Not looking to use his cam to take super aggro B main either. It is a bit more of a passive approach to Sen than we've seen from other teams running this comp. Tentative.
Yeah, looking for those openings, Gen.G. Doesn't give them too much though. Shock Dart, just out of range I think to do damage enough to break the alarm bot.
That's a very weak alarm bot.
Yeah. Can't see the health bar, but I'm sure it'll be minuscule.
Be crazy if the alarm bot clutched now. 1 HP.
A bit of spam though. It's going to be exchanged now here. Turret at least broken. Meteor, he is not shy, is he? This guy is happy to push back up. Make it really difficult to take any B main control. Already breaking that cam, backing away. 38 seconds.
They got that deep wall down mid, but they didn't break the alarm bot.
What is the call?
They've got to go into a B split.
There's plenty of players ready to meet them. Gen.G tucked up to crossfire setup. Logs to the corner. Lakia has to do a lot here. It's running and gunning to trade it out, but they weren't expecting, and again Meteor delivers to death blow. And it might just be a round-winning moment. Indeed it is. A three-piece to finish it. 10-6 Gen.G. Looking on pace now to just take this map away.
Yeah, that's going to knock the economy for Sentinels. Could be the death blow. I love that smoke. Everybody's throwing that same smoke now. Learn it for your ranked games as well. The one-way cross-map helps out your players to defend against the B split. Perfect from Karen, and it sets up this crossfire so beautifully. And Lucky is tucked into a corner. The Sentinels players, as they come out, they're checking stairs, wondering if someone's peeking from there. Because Meteor, he loves to play that spot. Yeah. Then they check switch, because you never know, Texture could be playing in that kind of position. There's just so many ways that Gen.G could be threatening you on defense. It's difficult to account for them all. And even if you did know that that crossfire setup was there, good luck dealing with it. Like I said, that could have been the death blow, and Sentinels are going to take a tactical timeout to try to figure out where they can go from here.
That's a real difficult ask, I think. With how active Gen.G are on their defense, it's either, you know, a bit of a trap play setup or maybe just a set play at the beginning of rounds that they will throw out. But even when they're just making sure that they can play it slow, you know, you saw in that last round, turret gets broken, Meteor immediately vacuums up the space.
Yeah.
Disrespects B main, makes sure that Sentinels can't take it with a cam, can't hold it easily.
And not only does that slow Sentinels down, but it also allows Gen.G much better information. We talk all the time about Munchkin making these amazing reads on defense. Part of it's because his players are willing to contest, and Meteor bounces, well, these amazing reads B main, and you see 5 players on the other side, and Meteor bounces, well, now that's really good info. But if Meteor's able to re-clear B main, he knows that a hit is not coming straight back through.
Yeah.
It just helps every aspect of their game. That constant war of attrition that Gen G force you to fight.
Half buys the Sentinels. Be rare to see a return on those investments. Caron still locks it up here. And spam being offloaded. Texture does manage to at least get 2, but it's even out and it has handed guns over.
Yeah, that's a major win for Sentinels.
Munchkin, there's a drone in his face. It's not being watched. Into the smoke. The awareness is off the charts. He doesn't go for the easy kill, but now he knows that TenZ is lurking. Not long for the world. But again, another high game IQ moment from Munchkin there. He hears the drone. He knows that Sassy is going to be occupied in that moment. Instead, takes the peek to the player with the gun.
Yeah, that's so good. And also getting the read that that player is going to be on the left.
Yeah.
He knows that there's a rifle down in that kind of situation, predicts the timing. I mean, timing's the drone as well, beautifully. And a situation that was looking like a potential win condition for Sentinels, ripped out of their hands so quickly. They're now going to have to find a different avenue of success. Sassy with the Odin ready to counter spam. But Texture, he hasn't been walking up B main with the op yet. This has been Meteor's domain. And they're going to expect him to be here.
Deep shot darts, not enough to clear this trip here. Sassy. It's a drone for a drone. Texture, he's hiding from it. Again, sowing misinformation. Shot missed though, Hunter's Fury. This feels like it's quite a committed push. And damage done, even a kill for Sassy, may be enough to pave the way. It calls for that reinforcement. Caron instantly TPs.
Very good ult from Sassy. Very good read to now go for an A split.
They've pulled these players apart, but Munchkin again could be that thorn in their side once more. Weapon glowing, this guy is on fire. Gravnet gets that confirmation potentially there. Flood defending in, right through the back. Annihilation and clearing in and through. Sentinels do have the necessary plays. You don't want to be handing care on too many more though. They're doubled up holding this one, side by side. Bit of spam hailing down the lead, so still in it, at least for now, Sentinels.
Great call from John. As soon as you hear that ult being used, I think it's very likely they're sticking the teleport into back B. He decides to send things on an A split, anticipating that A is weaker. And Munchkin's already realized what's happening and sent a couple players over there, but Sen grouped up, decisive, love to see it. And Sassy continues to have one of the best games that I've seen from him in a long time.
Oh yeah.
He was top of the scoreboard for a hot minute there on Haven, and now he's back up, at least on the Sentinel side, with 13 kills. Having a great day.
Doesn't get much easier though. This time Texture going walkabout up through mid. Angle's being held for him. He's hoping that somebody will just wade right into it. Dash is fading. This is hyper committed.
This is the kind of thing that Zekken just couldn't do.
And Zekken's holding to pixel angle. Oh, but no! Just missed it. The cross-up and Texture takes it away. Caron, heavy committed now into bottom mid. He needs to be defended and he needs some help to get out of here. That's what the drone is for. Up and over.
Right here.
Clears the path.
When Lakia and Caron are willing to be that aggressive, it allows Texture to do this.
This is not potentially getting cleared off. Angle traded. But again, reinforcements are there. Out through the back of the side. That's TenZ committing! Caron! He dominates the smoke. He will not be stopped. And a paranoia puts TenZ in his place.
The recon in that position is supposed to stop Caron from doing that. Your recon, he's caught out in the open, has to break it, gives away his position, forced to swing into the smoke. He's checkmated. He's swinging into a smoke that two of the people are already in. He can't get away with it. Opened up nicely with Gen G's aggression, which, like I said, their comp benefits them. Not something that Sentinels could ever really do, support Zekken in that kind of way on their defense half. But monster performance from Caron, up to 20 kills.
The cams are broken. It's one more round that's needed here for Gen G for their opening match of champs. They've not slowed down a beat. Up and over. Bladestorm in the hands. Texture is releasing. Just absolutely unbelievable form.
I can't use that.
Sentinels left to stew and simmer.
Knives back out though for Zekken.
Munchkin will fade away. Knives out, but back to the wall. Texture reveals his position. 3 left available to work with, blinded up Meteor. He spots it, betrayed by the barrel. A 2-0 finish. Gen.G looking large and in charge, not slowing down from prior performances. They are aiming and gunning for that trophy.
Revenge for the grand finals of Masters Madrid. Both of these teams were tied at 4 maps apiece heading into the match today. And now Gen.G have taken the lead, both in terms of that head-to-head series all year and in the maps. I think they outclassed Sentinels today. They showcased that divergence of the trajectories for both of these teams. There's a reason that Sentinels came in here based on their championship points, and Gen.G are coming in looking like favorites to lift the trophy.
It's a warm welcome at the tail end here for the series. Of course, Sentinels, you know, they are fan favorites even here in Korea, but it's even bigger fan favorites right in front of them here. Gen.G with that 2-0 win. Looking nasty, man.
I am disappointed that we didn't get to see Abyss from either of these two teams. First time Gen.G have ever floated a brand new map. They've been permabanning it all the other times. Felt like a trap. Sentinels were happy to opt into it. We were denied it today because the form from Gen.G just ridiculous with the 2-0. We'll have to wait until later on in the tournament for that kind of delight as we get to see squads like, I'm expecting Gen.G and Fnatic to both be fantastic on those new maps, but who knows?
Yeah,
it's a complete unknown.
A lot of unknowns when you're heading into these international tournaments about how teams are prepared and ready, but it was a hell of a task ahead of Sentinels to try and take this one. They might be the only team that's beaten them really on an international stage, but they couldn't quite replicate it. Not here for champs. It's a team that has just evolved over and over again. Every single game that Gen.G have played, they just look like they're going from strength to strength.
They certainly do. It wouldn't surprise anyone, I think, if Gen.G picked up a trophy here, but it's a long, long road ahead.
Oh yeah, early days.
A good first step along that path, however, taking down Sentinels.
Yeah, definitely early days, but like you said, it's a good first step to be taking.
And the crowd will be extremely happy in terms of opening things up here. In Seoul, intimate venue to open things up, not like the way that we'll end up closing. But the crowd could not find a team to better represent the Pacific region and South Korea, the mecca, the home of esports.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been wanting to really put up a stellar performance, I think, on a big stage for quite some time. Showcase that Korean dominance in esports for quite some time.
Here comes Texture.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just waiting for the interview to get set up now. But yeah.
I love any time we get to hear from Texture. It's so good. You saw his reaction earlier when he failed the ace.
Absolutely. Let's send it down to the floor for the interview.
Welcome down to the stage, Jen Lee here alongside Texture, of course, after Gen.G takes down Sentinels 2-0 now. Massive congrats, Texture. I feel like you guys had some unfinished business facing Sentinels today. They were the only team that beat you at a global event, and you beat them today, you know, right off the bat. So a great start to champions, right? 텍스처 선수 오늘 승리 축하드립니다. 오늘 오면서 유일하게 젠지에게 패배를 선물한 팀이 센티널스였는데 개막전부터 그냥 빠르게 해치웠습니다. 뭐 시작이 좋은 것 같아요. 오늘 경기 어떻게 느끼고 있나요?
좀 재밌게 그냥 저희 하던 느낌대로 그냥 잘 한 것 같아요.
We tried to have fun and play our own game, so yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with how it went down. Now, you guys are on a different trajectory, you and Sentinels, post-Madrid, of course. Sentinels in particular, they had their struggles, but you guys went on and won every trophy there ever was. So how does Sentinels today compare to the Sentinels that you faced in the grand finals in Masters Madrid? 근데 이제 젠지와 센티널스가 그 마드리드 이후에 좀 다른 흐름을 보여주고 있잖아요. 젠지는 뭐 있는 트로피들 다 쓸어 담았고 센티널스는 약간 흔들리는 모습을 보여줬는데 그 결승전 때 만났던 센티널스에 비해서 오늘의 센티널스는 좀 어떻게 느껴졌을까요?
사실 뭐 센티넬은 아직도 잘하는 팀이라고 생각을 하고 있긴 한데요. 근데 솔직히 저희가 마드리드 때보다 훨씬 더 성장을 많이 했고 더 강해졌다고 생각을 하기 때문에 뭔가 저희가 더 성장을 많이 했다고 생각해요. 그래가지고 오늘 그냥 승리 따낸 것 같습니다.
Sentinels are a really strong team, but you know, for Gen G specifically, we grew a lot as a team post Madrid. So I think today's win just goes off to prove how much growth we had as a team ever since then. And I think it's our own growth and us becoming a strong team that led us to today's win. Now, lastly, Texture, you've had 13 or 12, I was told, 4Ks since your last ace. You missed one today as well. So how are we feeling about that ace that you missed today? You know, are you gonna get it the next match? 텍처 선수 에이스 하고 나서 마지막으로 에이스한 거에 비해서 이제 4킬을 13번, 12번 에이스를 미스한 게 그만큼 많다는 뜻이잖아요. 그래서 오늘 좀 그 놓친 에이스에 대해서 어떻게 느끼고 있는지 리액션은 봤지만 그리고 뭐 다음 매치에 에이스 하면 되겠죠?
에이스 하고 싶고요. 그리고 사실 뭐 에이스를 언제 마지막으로 했는지도 지금 기억도 안 나요 저는.
4월이었대요, 4월.
진짜요? 뭐 하여튼 4월 오래됐네요. 뭐 하여튼 언젠간 하겠죠. 뭐 이기는 게 일단 최우선이니까. 근데 누가 먹었더라? 마지막에 종민이가 먹었었나?
나키요.
근데 좀 진짜 서운하네요.
Honestly, I really want another ace, but I don't even remember the last time I had an ace, and I told him it was April, and he said, you know, it's been such a long time, and you know, whatever it takes for my team to win, I will do. But I would like another ace. Maybe I'll get it the next match or in the upcoming matches. But he said, you know, Lakia should apologize to him for stealing his opportunity to get that ace. It's been a while, but thank you, Texture, and congratulations once again. Best of luck. 승리 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
네, everybody give it up for Texture once more. 박수 부탁드립니다.
Streaking these crazy rounds together. Woot was dominating on the Duelist. All these things were looking amazing, and I'm like, this team is like maybe going to win EMEA. We're going to be coming into, you know, potentially champions.
Defensive push all the way through A, looking to try and catch them on the flank, but I believe Life has spotted it.
He did. He was ready for that. You know, only peeked up the top, gave the info to Lysaurus. Good for one. The Sheriff, though, running low on ammo. Flash comes through. He won't dodge it. Now they're right on top of him. Easy trade for Heretics, but the site is claimed. FPX knew the ground they'd given up. Life up top looks to take it all the way onto Boo. And now they've got a foothold, an aggressive one that Heretics will have to fight for. And they win their first duel.
Aya's still up there, though. They might not expect the second, but they're playing as a unit, moving as a pack. Leaving Berlin, who hasn't actually been spotted in the corner, but Woot lands the shot anyway. Leaving Autumn to try and hold on. Utility expended, needs to land the shots first, doesn't go his way, and he's not going to get a second chance. Pistol goes the way of Heretics.
Yeah, you really see them sticking as a blob, whether it's the A-main push to start this off on the defensive side. They get up, they get the information, and then there's no splitting. There's no sending a player out to die by themselves. Instead, just using the numbers to their advantage in the pistol. It works out, and the few little extra plays that FPX tried, they don't manage anything. So 1-0 we start, rifles coming through, and I'm excited by what I'm seeing. There's still 15 seconds left. They could easily decide to sell some of these weapons.
You're going to talk about
what am I going to say? Goddamn right. It's an outlaw on Mini Boo, the Jet. I'm excited to see what he can do. No shields on the other side, so this could be a big farming round for him. Bring him closer to that ultimate, but he's only got one orb on the board, so it'll be a while before
that's one of the most fun things about this map is what you can do with the Blade Storm. Like, you can literally jump off the map and go for kills. Yeah. That's some of the crazy stuff we've seen. I think Smoggy was doing that over on EDG. For now, though, Minibu's just looking for those early fights. It seems more spread from the attack side. Maybe an attempt to just collect some orbs, potentially look for a plant. You can't really have too many expectations from a round like this, and they're playing it very safe. But I do think that dimensional drift is a huge part of what they're going to be going for. Site control, a big part of their game plan, but also it just allows Life to go crazy, and that's something that genuinely, he's one of the most terrifying duelists in the whole tournament because he is, as said, just a little bit insane.
I wonder if we'll see this continue. Much more passive hold over B. It was the same in the pistol for Boo, but his teammates were pushing A that time. Now, well, he has actually shifted into a slightly more aggressive position. Could be in trouble. Smoke used, though, to back out, concede the space, and with that, FPX will find themselves a plant. Again, the idea from Heretics isn't to stop them in their tracks, it's to wait and retake it as a unit. Already finding one with the Outlaw. The players on backside might have a chance with the Classics catching them off guard. Decent damage to Benji.
How much they can get in terms of the kills, though. Not really playing alongside each other. A little bit further back for Autumn, and it makes this training quite a bit easier. One kill at least, make things that a little bit more costly, but you can see Rien's only having a pistol. It's not really going to force any rebuys for the next round, other than the player who was already going to.
So no kills converted, bar that one. No weapons dropped. The Bulldogs sort of, and let
big one. Over on the left side of the map, getting ready, pinging over onto the B site. It does seem, though, that Heretics have a decent idea. A very passive hold. Benji sitting back. Now, he should be able to clear at least some of the trips. Make sure that they're not going to be able to hold on to that ground. Although saying that, it seems like they're both still standing.
Yeah, there was a clear idea from Heretics to change their setup. Boo goes to the A site this round. Traps are here to try to catch these players as they make their way in or out of the site. But now the traps are down. Benji has been blitzed on, and with this FPX, able to fall back, playing a lot of players in main. They've lost their mid control, but that's not that big of a stress this late in the round. Main thing is keeping life on the site and having the support to cover him as they cross. Even the TPUs to get out of there, and now standard post plants on a long range angle down an alleyway. Already finding Mini Boo, and even if they smoke this one off, it's going to be hard to get this stuck all the way with a big swing. Gravwell keeps them back a moment, buys them time, but not quite enough.
Yeah, they definitely came close. Aya tagged life as well, so there was potential for them to try and bring that back, but the Gravwell couldn't quite hold them long enough, unfortunately, for the
nice
side
try,
of
though.
Heretics.
I like the idea.
Yeah, definitely not a bad idea. And you can see that, again, I think this was a map that FPX are using against a lot of teams because they're not going to be massively well prepped. But it seems like for Heretics, they have a decent idea of what they're going to be doing. They're playing this map because they're comfortable enough on it, at least, even if they haven't had a massive break. I know a lot of the players said that they sort of went home, had some time, maybe with family or friends, just to try and counter the bigger problem, which was the burnout. For now, though, it seems like FPX are going to go straight for that middle control. Now, we've seen teams using, well, even them, using the Viper wall for the same purpose, but instead already both smokes utilized early in the round just to try and take this space.
Oh, Life is really committing to this. Decoy sent through a flash to start, and they're trying to catch a fight. Unfortunately, they have. It was Benji Fishy to take down Life and slow this push completely. The squad now trapped in by Ult coming in from Wu. Big play from Boo. He's caught Autumn off guard. Barely any ground to hold on to for FPX, and now down to nothing. Berlin, he's made it to the site. His sneak up through B main is successful. Unfortunately, he's got 4 opponents to take down and a reveal that's going to make him give it away. The steps definitely shown Heretics where he is, and well, I don't think he's getting away with this one. The crash finally gets him.
Boo is nice. Boo is a nice person. He gets detained, he decides, you know what, I'm actually just going to finish him off before anything else can happen, and even get himself the extra ultimate orb, which gets him that little bit closer. Now, the problem for FPX is financially a bit of a weird one. You've got yourself Aya with a bit of extra cash. The same can be said for Life, which, hey, again, you put him in the right position and things can definitely go their way. I feel like the problem with this round, though, was they wanted to try and go for mid-control, but it was very telegraphed. Like, you're using both smokes, like, unless you're going for some crazy fake play, I don't think it's going to fool anyone. And the main person that could have been caught was Benji.
Yeah, and he hit his shot. Simple as that. Mini Boo, free kill,
God,
and he's dashed right out.
That dart caught everyone. It caught everyone.
That dart caught Life as well. A shock dart sent through, picking off one, damage done. Berlin down to 62. FPX don't have a lot to work with here. Obviously, still the rifle on Aya, but the rest of the squad just with pistols. And well, they are going to need a big performance to make this one. It's not about winning it. It's about keeping that economy managed on the Team Heretic side. They can't have all 5 players carrying rifles through to the next round, and at least there's the first to fall. Mini Boo with Woot and Rien super low. This could still be an okay round in terms of economy damage for the attackers.
It does revolve. Maybe on a sneaky play from Autumn. He's making his way down mid. The problem is if his teammate falls, would mean that they eventually start looking back in the other direction while the cam's going to do that anyway. even still, the aggressive position of Boo means that a plant is going to be tough. And even still, they're going to walk back into a trip. So there really is just going to be so much information. Boo is just waiting for a mistake to be made. Utility trying to be cleared from Aya, but he is dead. Like, unless Boo makes a massive mistake, I don't think there's any way that Aya's going to survive.
No, of course not. It's not an angle you will usually clear, and not one that you can from the position he was in. Free for Boo. Even at the information with the trap being broken earlier, and obviously the steps were loud as can be. Bottom with a chance, there's one, and low HP on Rienz if he can isolate the fight, but he wants the rifle, and Benji's guarding it. 4-1, a solid start to this defensive side. Heretics lose their third round, one that they're kind of expected to, where they had the weaker weapons, but since rifles come out, it doesn't look like they're breaking much of a sweat. That last round wasn't a big one from FPX, though. This is where the investment comes through for the attacking side.
I think the scary prospect, though, is just bear in mind that Binders, that was ended in 0, so I think that at the but I feel
life after the flag will control that Heretics are ready. Early scoreline, but we need to see this attacking side find the solutions pretty soon. And now this is the best time for it. A bunch of ultimates online, albeit less or not high impact, but the rifle's coming out.
They've tried to do the same again, like throw a couple of early smokes, but this is just a ruse. It's trying to sell the idea that they're going for the same play. The problem is there's been a change up from Heretics as well. They've now got the operator roaming in mid, so nobody else has moved. The orb being taken is definitely going to be heard as well. So again, like the idea was to try and sell some sort of fake, sell some sort of lurk, but thus far, that hasn't happened.
No success in that front whatsoever. Team Heretics.
We
mentioned the change-up in setup that we saw a few rounds ago where Benji came in to prevent this B-site push. You've not just got Benji, but Boo here as well. Both of these players, we've seen anchoring sites now committed to holding the angles. Decoy is the one that's sent through. It's not even going to be touched. They allow it to fade into insignificance. Trap, luckily, not going to catch anyone. Aya's able to destroy it in time, and they've claimed the space. Now the rotations come in from Heretics. Now they look to defend that B site or even to retake it, but little do they know the spike is going elsewhere. All they have to do on this site is buy time, and Aya's done a good job of that. Autumn might not be able to get out of here, but look at Lysor's position, sneaking up through mid, cutting this defense apart, and Autumn's even picked another.
It's a double dip, almost a triple dip. They sell an initial fake, throw it into it, what seems like a take of the B site, and then throw it back over to A again. That was really nice. Incredibly complicated. It's something that you do feel like at any stage, if Heretics managed to catch on, it could have gone completely wrong, but I like it. Like, you're throwing in the double smokes early again. You're then going to be using an ultimate and then even sending a couple of players into that site and then going back in the other direction with, what, 20 seconds left on the clock? I think the main point of that round, though, was Lysor. Just having him still in middle, leaving Autumn as the secondary lurk, it makes it so difficult for anybody to actually move on Heretics without being caught or being put in a 1v1.
Well, early on, there's a big fight for A main. Just like the pistol, Heretics want a triple push up. They've spotted the operator already, and the dash actually caught on the wall. That's going to cost Mini Boo his life. The flash stopped him from being able to see exactly where he was dashing to. Well, a terrific start for FPX, and I think this was a response from Heretics to the last round. They played it blind, tried to rotate, assuming FPX were going to be as one-dimensional as they were a few rounds ago, and instead, they now go for the push to get the early info, walk straight into the op, pick is found, and FPX can now go back to that 2D play because, well, they've got the advantage. You're not going to have as many players rotating in.
They're pushing into what is almost at this stage a double Sentinel. It's a bit of a gamble, keeping both players here, even having a rotation out from the side of Wu as well, who has been hitting his shot so far. Wu even going to just be waiting behind, but it's almost just a peek out straight behind the utility. Boo goes down, Benji is still here, looking to try and fight on top of it. He almost gets two. The second player so desperately low, even knows that he's still on this corner. Just waiting for someone to try and swing around that corner. I think he's got him dead to rights, a second to his name. But that wraparound, they're waiting for it, they're trying to watch for it, and almost getting that information might just give the game away. Berlin still managing to fight back with another, putting thing into a 2 versus 2, but that time has been ticking all the way along. Benji looking to try and get things to half. He's succeeded, but with his teammate going down, it's now left all onto him, surrounded in the end, and FPX, well, it got a little bit dicey, but they get it over the line.
Yeah, well, listen, you told me that Life does some crazy stuff, and I'm waiting for the TPs and so on. There he fake TPs, pushes through a smoke with an op. Hey, that's not a conventional play. It's not one I'd recommend you try at home, but my goodness, it most certainly has worked. And again, that early aggression towards A, the fact that Heretics try to take the space to find a solution to the problems they had last time, well, it hasn't worked out. And now from the Heretics side, you know that if you play it slow and rotate in off what is clearly an execute, FPX might fake it. If you go for the early aggression to grab control so that you know where the hit's coming through, FPX might be waiting. This is a very good resurgence. A team that was 4-1 down with no answers, they've certainly started to fill in that worksheet.
And the bigger problem now is the economy. I will say there's a lot of ults that are either online or very close. Miniboo 1 away, Rian's 1 away. This round on paper seems easy, but if I've learned anything from Heretics is that Benji plays better with the Sheriff. Mark, who's to doubt the other players on this squad? Again, I feel like the darts from Rians have pinged up the entire team multiple times. I feel like FPX might have to go to the workshop and try and shoot those before they go off. Again though, FPX just taking things slow. They know that a round like this is likely to have weaknesses, likely to have pieces missing, so they don't really need to overface.
All they have to do is get towards this side as well. They have the pit if things start to go wrong, but unlikely to be used in a round where there's mostly weaker weapons. Instead, this ultimate, the dimensional drift is used. Get into the site, root out all these players, grab the info, go for a very aggressive peek. The flash even thrown through by Woot gets nothing, and the control swinging clearly in favor of FPX. A 5 versus 2. There'll be no pit used this round, a guarantee of that. With a plant on the bridge, this round has become very difficult for Heretics to even find anything in. You're talking about economy damage at this point, and it's one man. Make that no man. Aya's had a hell of a round.
Yeah, no, he just goes running in, takes the battles. Obviously, the space was taken initially by Life. I don't mind committing an ult like that in a round where ultimately you're in a position to spare a few here and there and just make sure that you're not going to lose to pistols. As said, the opponents can be incredibly dangerous on the side of Heretics with those pistols in hand, and he was able to make sure there at least wasn't a direct stack on the side. Although there was 3 players around, and Aya, well, he kind of dealt with those very easily indeed.
We've had a Team Heretics pause called 4-1 in the lead, and now tied up neck and neck with FPX seemingly having time.
It's an opening left on that A site, which is going to be a plant. Viper's Pit available, and then
trade out, pick up Berlin.
Tease, but it's a lot to do. Bottom, sure. But I think this group truly is terrifying from top to bottom, and I'm sure most people would put FPX at the bottom, but I'm not sure I do. Berlin already directly into the site. Loves his TPs, but it's a lot of damage done off the rip.
Yes, well, Aya's extremely low, but so too is Woot. Oh, hello. Crash still there to be used. Big backside push. Berlin holds the line for a moment, but then Woot on his low HP, the one to trade out, pick up the double. At least FPX scrambling.
Mid just to clear out that lurk. I think Rian just had enough. He's like, he's going to be here. I'm going to check. But again, it's an opening left on that A site, which is going to be a plant. Viper's Pit available, and there's nothing that anyone can do to stop this, other than maybe Blind Hunter's Fury to try and deny the plant. That might slow them down a bit, and that is what he's going to go for. It's not hit.
It was close, but unfortunately it comes at the cost of his life, with Life himself being the one to grab that kill. Blade Storm, we just heard it activated by Miniboo. They're going to commit to this, and going through that Viper's Pit with a Blade Storm might be an advantage. Find him, drop the right click, and get it done. Flash out a little early. Life's going to get ahead of the Thrash, but not destroy it. Luckily, it's gone too deep. It's inside the ultimate itself. You're not going to be able to recover that, certainly not with any form of ease. Miniboo, I almost expected him to go up top. Instead, he's just running it through, finding one, but it's not the Viper. Now you're down to the Operator. That's not the right weapon for the job. The spray's good to drop the diffuser, and although Autumn falls, the time already too far gone, and they can't deal with Life. FPX, this started out abysmal for him, but they've taken the lead.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase, life comes at you fast, but I've never heard life clutches it out, because that's what, he seems to be everywhere. And that's the thing. Like, Aya's been having a great game, but life is up there as well, normally as the tip of the spear, and somehow even surviving to the late game as well. And this round again was just, the mid-round calling has been exceptional. Like, we have seen different moments where they start one side of the map, they go for these opening picks, and by the time you even notice it, they're back on the other side, they've cleared everything out, and even losing the lurk. Like, that was the moment you think, okay, the round's done.
Well, they had 2 lurks.
Yeah, and then they go hunting. Life again was the guy who got the kill on Riens.
Oh, no!
Oh, no. No, no, look away. Look away.
When you talk about Miniboo being self-critical, I hope he can let that one go. That's a rough
I hope
one.
other people can let that one go as well. I think that's going to be in a montage or 2.
They only have pistols. At least they only have pistols this round.
Right.
It's not as bad as it could have been. That's rough, man. That is very rough.
Yeah.
FPX.
GB loves the phrase "from the top rope." I don't think that's what he meant.
From the mid rope, right down to the bottom. Well, 5-4, and it's a 5v4. With FPX having the lead without drawing blood themselves. They've got to be happy about that.
Berlin did get the kill.
Technically, it was given, but he wasn't too involved. It was by proxy.
No, it was just fear. He saw into Berlin's eyes. Maybe Miniboo has nightmares of Berlin in more ways than one.
Oh, wow.
Here we go. 4 players to try and find anything again. I feel like we've been saying this a lot. Just an attempt to do damage. And, wow, Woot's going to get one for free. That's not too bad. Trade eventually there from Aya. Keeping them honest. No ultimates if they needed them, but I don't think they will. This is now falling perfectly into place for the side of FPX. 6-4 from what was, correct me if I'm wrong, 4-1. They have now managed to streak themselves 5 rounds in a row. There you go. Well, you can see it on your screen. Don't need my help.
Yeah. It's been a very impressive resurgence.
It just, that's the...
Oh, you can see it in the player cam.
Oh. The thing is, it's the worst player for it to happen to as well, because I feel like if Benji has like, he's going to be giggling, he's going to be having a laugh.
Laughing away.
I think Woot as well.
The silly little goose.
But Miniboo, after having a rough start, I feel like that might get to him. And he's going to go aggro. I think wanted to try and rectify things, but hey, FPX are meeting him.
They absolutely are. Look, with a guy like Life, we've seen this a couple of times. He's willing to play a little bit loose. A little bit crazy. Setting out the late lurk for Berlin. He's going to be covering the back lines where the traps from Cypher don't. And for Team Heretics, same old thing. Group up, play this as a blob, move together. Smoke's online for Boo fairly soon. He's popping down his stars as we speak. But the time here is a big problem.
They've had it for a while. They could section things off. There you go. Space taken, but they have to deal with Life.
They also have to be quick because Berlin's on the way up behind. And if he finds that space before they've claimed the site, this could be an absolute disaster. Problem is, denying this defuse is very difficult. Oh, the run through is good. And the shorty comes out for more. Gorgeous play from Autumn. I thought that was going to be a close round, if anything, a guaranteed for Heretics back on the board. But well, FPX just doing FPX things.
The funny thing is, if Benji stood a little bit further forward, he dies to full damage.
He pushes him off.
It literally would have fallen off, but I guess it's a risk. It would be a big risk just to play that far forward, but yeah, the fact he jumps in, sprays ones down, and then gets the second with the shorty, like, and the Cosmic Divide was great, but again, when you're up against a team like this who have no fear, they don't mind playing through your utility, you have to basically body check them into not playing confidently, and I don't think anybody's managed to do that ever. And well, speaking of confidence, Autumn's coming into this round with the Viper attack side op. Actually, in fact, so is Aya.
Yeah, I mean, they've got extra credits. I have to assume there's a weapon on the floor in case things start to spiral out. This is the last round of the half, remember, and well, Berlin's got enough credits to buy them a few spare rifles, so does Lysor. For FPX, well, 6 rounds in a row. No surprise to see them playing confident, and even in the last round, I feel like they had that hero play, but they also had Berlin coming up behind. If the play was slightly slower from Heretics, throwing out a lot of opportunities for themselves in the late round. Now it's going to be the same thing.
Read again.
Lysor mid-lurk, play to B site, but again, Heretics, all the utils here, and they've got Riens this time.
That's it. His darts have been impressive, and he's got it online now. Trying to get that information, and it is eventually going to be denied. In fact, not catching anybody this time. The one time it would have been almost instant death. for the side of this attack. They're taking the space, jumping up. Benji's found the first. Holding that line, but it's not clean. It's not pretty. Oh, Aya's managed to take him down. Timer ticking and the spike still in an awkward spot. But again, he's always there, always behind. The timing's going to be everything, though, as Rians drops another. He's heard the steps of Minibu coming behind him. He's trying to catch this guy off guard instead, and now looks to switch back. That plant is just about going to be coming in time. And they've still got to worry about that flank.
Yeah, it's made its way up top now, and, well, it doesn't look like the flank's the main problem. Berlin's holding strong. Autumn's here to support, although he's lost his head. Now the flank going to be dealt with, but ammo is the main concern. 8-4 as we close out this half, and FPX, they were 4-1 down.
Yeah.
This was looking bad. They needed an answer, and by golly, they found it.
Yeah, no, this was just an impressive dismantling. I've really enjoyed the way that we've seen mid-round switch-ups, more direct takes. As I said, I think the calling, honestly, from the side of FPX has been utterly sublime. And then just those individual plays, like Lysor, bottom of the board, has been an irritant for them the entirety of this half.
Well, nothing but problems for the side of Team Harris. Better than streak of coming to fruition, 3-10. Disaster of a start.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it doesn't get much worse. And just look at already what's being attempted. You got the Viper screen down in case they needed to cover mid, but instead they've just TP'd right into it. Benji, though, has managed to catch the first player. I want to point out there was more than one. Berlin is still going, but it seems like Boo is very aware of the potential of further aggression. They are holding for this FPX squad.
Yep, making some pressure on A, but I'm not even sure if they're looking to commit. For FPX, though, it seems quite clear that there's about to be a hit on that side of the map. The steps, the noise, the utility is now over there. 3 players now stacked up, with Berlin left with the responsibility of hearing the steps if the rotations come through. And considering they killed Ayung on mid, they might start to go quite quickly around. There's a lot of pings here, though. Pings that certainly indicate they're suspicious of a player being around here, and they've caught Berlin. Okay, the snake in the grass dealt with, and Heretics, I think, are going to move into the B site. Yes, they are, and it's wide open.
Yeah, they've been methodical this round. I think they were very ready for that mid push, something that is attempted by FPX in a fair few rounds.
30 seconds left.
Watching it from multiple angles, and while now for the defense, they are going to need themselves a bit of a hero play. Wingman will be sent through. A little obstacle course for him to make it onto the site, but defense already here. All 3 players looking for someone to make a mistake.
Well, perhaps Rians has. He faced into Lysor, who seems to be hungry for some kills, already picking up 2. And damage done to Benji. This is workable. With Lysor down, the pressure falls on Autumn. He's had some big plays, big rounds, but it's a little tough to do in the pistol, surrounded on all sides, and Heretics, everybody put the work in this time. A team ace to put a round on the board after quite a while. They finally get to taste victory.
Yeah, it's an important one for them. And now that's both pistols in this map 1, and currently still going to be at a deficit unless they manage to win the bonus or something of that sort. It's definitely not an ideal scenario. But I will say, from what we've seen, at least in the pistol, they're aware of what's going to be attempted by FPX. The thing is, they've cooked up a lot of stuff on this map. I'm still waiting for the round where Berlin gets his ultimate online to see if he's going to try some of the stuff that he was attempting in previous matches versus EDG, trying to jump off the map, use his ultimate to teleport across, cancel it, and then Shrouded step back onto the map. And then he got shot in the face. But the idea is there. It's just, if he can make that work, he's going to look like the greatest player ever. But this round, well, any kills would be nice. And any damage they can do. On the other side of things, as always, the Heretics have got a couple of pistols that they can use as, well, in this case, lurkers, or to take more of a risk if needed.
Yeah, much more controlled early round from the Heretics than what we saw from FPX in those first couple. Spread out, just looking to push and pull the map and get a sense of what they're up against on this defensive side. For FPX, the gamble on B, well, I'm not sure that it'll find value. That aggression you're seeing out of Heretics is only to find the orb, and then they're on the rotation back towards this site that's much more open. Just one man defending it, and Life is about to go through the smoke, and that will be the end of him. A site now open for the taking. A little bit of Cypher utility awaiting them, but no one to execute on the back of it.
No one there. He can walk into every single one of those trips unless it catches him and pulls him off the map. I don't think that's going to be working. And I was about to say, surely at this point, if he hasn't realized it by now, we have a problem. For the rest of the players, it may genuinely just be a, well, I was going to say die to the spike, or, you know, there's other ways. Oh no, I tripped.
I have tripped and fallen. No. FPX, I think the spike is the likely play. And look to just punish anybody that gets aggressive.
If they catch someone, get an orb. The thing is, none of their ultimates are even remotely close. Lysor is the closest, and I don't think it's worth risking giving stuff over to the other side. Although, Boo is going to gamble. He wants to try and get himself a little closer. Only has a pistol to play with, so it's an orb for an orb. Not going to be the worst scenario, not going to be the best. And while Heretics have closed the distance a little bit more. The problem being, though, is in the buy rounds is where FPX were, well, as you can see by the timeline, by far the better side.
Yes, absolutely. When those rifles come out, when old cycles are through, and honestly, a lot of the times it's nothing to do with ultimates. It is just how they're playing the map. But on the attack side, it's a different game. I don't expect them to slow down too much, though. The results here, this is it's their pick for a reason. They're on this defense, B-side, Viper, Autumn's been having a good game so far, and his challenge is a little bit more aggressive than what we saw from Heretics. Boo was constantly playing far back in Heaven, or Benji, playing towards the spawn with his utility. Instead, Autumn is out looking for a fight.
Because they've got Thrash online. If he's not put into a better position, or if he's caught out, he is the only defender of this site, so that definitely could be an issue. I think also just playing on this side when there's a Gecko, because that is the normal route to send through Wingman to get you into the after plant. It's the common post plant that we see from a lot of teams. And I guess with Berlin now alongside him, it isn't so much of a risk. I think we've also seen a bit of utility on the other side of the map, so I think FPX at this point have a pretty decent idea. That doesn't necessarily mean that Heretics are going to stick to this. In fact, no, they're doubling back.
Some of these rounds are going to hinge on that mid lurk, and we've seen Benji sitting around this position, but only holding for the aggression, not looking to get up in their faces, opening the door at least to cause some paranoia, but, well, FPX know there's nothing going on. Life has committed himself to holding down middle. FPX have a lot of utility on A. We saw this in the last round. The traps were there awaiting them. Although we'll have Thrash going through first, you've still got to avoid those traps. That's exactly what Miniboo does. Updraft dash takes Heaven control, but no punish just yet there. Lysor eventually falls from the jump up. Miniboo looks to be a thorn in their side. Up in Heaven, not just by himself, but with two players, make that nobody. Woot dies, and the fallback from Boo now leaves Miniboo alone.
They've seen him. It seems like it. Lots of utility being expended, and he's isolated. And the aggression elsewhere hasn't succeeded either. Boo falls, puts the advantage with the defense. Rians and Benji. A little bit of an angle over the top, which might just give the game away. A nice shot from Rians, puts things back into a 2 versus 2. And for a moment, it looked like Ayung was going to try and jump around, but he's thought better of it. That time continuing to tick, Rians continuing to land every shot. 4 kills for him in this round. That Sova switch seems to just work for him. An agent he thrives under, but well, maybe the Guardian's working just a little bit better.
Well, everything else went wrong for them there, but Rian's went right. Unbelievable. The fact that Miniboo's isolated, either expected or spotted up in Heaven, dealt with the utility thrown down and him forced out of position, and that Woot got caught going up. You know, the idea was to have 3 players there to take a fight, to maybe even flash through the smoke and get super aggressive. But once Woot falls, Boo's in no man's land and quickly swept up.
It's the Turkish Olympian. He doesn't need any of that high-tech mumbo-jumbo.
No.
Put a gun in his hand. And well, they'll be hoping this time it's not the silver medal. Either way, that has wrecked the economy of FPX.
Yeah.
Ayung is going to be in the same position, trying to make that Guardian work. To be fair, when he's had a hero rifle, there has been extra damage caused. There's no doubt about it. The rest left just onto pistols. I guess in that case, I'd probably be watching Lysor, because his share is fairly nasty. For the other side, though, you got Hunter's Fury, 1 away as well from a Cosmic Divide, which for the most part, it's not normally the most impactful, but when you're up against pistols, being able to section off an angle, if there's a stack, could be high priority. Instead, though, Heretics, again, they fall into this passive default. They are expecting aggression. They're expecting pushes, and to be fair, other than the mid push, no one's really moving.
Yeah, it's a slow play. And with 40 seconds left, that's when Heretics start to look somewhere else, start to move, and abandon those lurk catches. Well, if Berlin hadn't walked in with his back turned, I think that could have been a different fight. Instead, Minibu grabs the opening. It does spur them onto the B side where everyone's waiting, and it's iYoung taking 2 headshots at that with the Guardian. And they're in a bit of trouble jumping across that bridge because iYoung's still waiting. His 4th kill locked in already. And Benji Fishy left in an impossible situation. 3 players and iYoung looking for the ace. He's got it locked in. Another round for FPX, and what a way to do it.
Well, 2 rounds, 9 Guardian kills. I don't think you're going to find that too often in the history of Valorant. 2 players that can both hit the headshots, but iYoung just doing it a little bit better. The first 2 was so disgustingly clean, but let's be real. I think there was about 1, maybe 2 missed bullets in the entirety of this round for him. FPX even close.
Yeah, and again, I hate to harp on by talking. He's got the dish for FPX. Yeah.
This one gratifying. Life though, well, that's just absurd. He just tried something so risky, and he has walked into. Yep, that's the whole Heretics team.
That's everybody. iYoung might be in a position. I think it's just about going to catch him. We'll see. Yeah, he's had to break it as he makes his way through, and now they're aware. They're turning.
Would have made it if he was bold. That's all I'm saying. Another win for the bold gang.
Another win, the first win, let's say.
Wow.
Team Heretics, 4 versus 1 at this point. It seems to be locked in, but it's iYoung on the other side. I'm not certain it'll be an easy victory if he decides to go for it, but definitely one that seems locked in.
I believe.
Economy, a little shaky. And for the defensive side, I think it's better to just carry this weapon through to the next. They've made the right call, but that does put Team Heretics with a foot in the door.
It sort of is what the desk was talking about. It's the aggressive plays either look amazing or they look like that. You try and flash through a smoke, the whole team is waiting on the other side, you get wrecked. It's going to happen. It's how this composition almost works for them. Like, you have yourself that solo initiator, and because of it, and they do this a lot, they play the double controller or even triple controller on a lot of maps, so you're very reliant on the solo initiator or, and in most cases it's the or, Life to be an initiator with his face. So he's going to go running into angles, flashing into angles. You'll see it, no matter the agent, if he plays Jet, if he plays Raze, he's going to be taking space that you wouldn't even expect the craziest of duelists to take because of the comps that they're running, because they're more reliant on him to do stuff like that. And unfortunately, well, you lose 2 opening picks immediately off the rip. The round's going to go wrong. Luckily, with that extra save, with the extra gun, they're still going to come in with the purchase. And Ultimate's, honestly, at this stage, fairly even.
Yeah, relatively neck and neck. I mean, you can understand that last round, the early aggression. Sometimes you got to just throw in a little extra flair to your round. And if there's a lurker there, he's dead, most likely. But, well, there were 5 people ready to take the fight. For FPX, rotation comes through. Life now in position, ready to take this B fight. In fact, a decoy is sent straight through, and Life is awaited. They let the decoy run past, took the main man down, and now the advantage, well, actually quickly flips hands. Autumn making a fight for it. Boo, though, answers back up alongside Woot. A 2 versus 3, a retake needed for FPX. The spike planted relatively open. The thrash online just in case, and there's not a lot to say for FPX in terms of their chances. They need to get aggressive. At least they'll have the information to work with, but I don't know what that is going to get them. Maybe point the guns in the right direction. Little lurk around from iYoung. He's going to go for it, yeah. But find absolutely nothing. A firing squad waiting for him.
Yeah, Brians is there, so clean with it at the end. Scoreline equalized. Another round on the board for Heretics. And again, I think some more just solid utility. We saw the initial flashes that I think the Gecko flash caught like everybody who was on that site. Like every POV we switched to, I'm sure of the observers, like, get one that isn't blind. Just try and find them as they go. But it was rough on the way in. And I also think the dart, yeah, you could just see the combination of utility. You had the dart the immediate Hunter's Fury and then the Dizzy that just left everybody within that site without being able to see and being revealed. And I think there was even a counter ultimate of a Nightfall that was thrown in by the defense.
9-7 gap or 10-7 gap facing an eco. But taking it here means Heretics likely push up to double digits. And if damage isn't done in this round, they'll have a lot of safety net to fall back on.
That's similar to the last half, but at this stage looking a little bit worse for wear. And I think that the problem right now seems to be that any of the aggression they're attempting is just met with the full force of their opponents. And I think Heretics are doing well, and at least when it's versus the buy rounds, they're basically just grouping up. They're knowing that, okay, either we go for a direct take together, we have our trips to still give away the game, but also they're probably going to push. And as long as someone's playing anti-flash or looking the other way, a lot of what Life is going to be attempting isn't going to work. This setup is dirty. They've got a Paranoia setup, a Cam looking forward. They could also send a Prowler through from the corner. This is an almost perfect trap if somebody walks into it, which they didn't. So now the rest of them are going to go hunting this guy with a Guardian. Iyoung is gross.
He needs to stop buying the Vandal.
Yeah, waste.
There's no reason. It's 20 and 11. So many of those are Guardian kills. So many of those are one taps. 50 seconds on the clock. Spike's already made it to the B site. Planted as we speak. Woot. His Dizzy's gone. He's going to play aggressive. He's not going to recover that Dizzy up top instead to try to disorientate the team. A defensive side with a flare of aggression. Benji's caught one on the flank, but there's a lot more coming. 20 HP left on Iyoung. That'll limit his impact. Autumn, I thought he had something special up his sleeve, but just the one to be found. Still, though, a 2 versus 2. If Iyoung had full HP, I might even favor them in this position. I might favor them still. A chance with both solo. 10 HP in the difference. Shock dart in. Rien's finding it. And double digits is locked in. This, considering limited investment from FPX, came very close, though.
The util king. Honestly, Rien's is having a game. Whether it's his reveals, whether it's the shot darts, or whether it's just the headshots he's hitting, he's playing a wonderful match. And right now for them, it has been a difference maker. They haven't been able to really do too much to deal with him. Again, though, it's a low buy round that just gets so dangerous. Iyoung with that Guardian, another couple of kills. In fact, I think the last kills he got before that were also with the Guardian when he got that 4K. That was when we last saw something from him. Viper's Pit immediately put into play, trip alongside it, and it means that they're going to try and gamble elsewhere. Have 3 players towards the B site. Middle control will be held by Lysor, but once again, and no surprise, Heretics are taking their time.
Yeah, Lysor is going to be pretty passive. Extremely passive, in fact, because you've got the trap sitting inside that Viper's Pit on A. You have 3 kill if they decide to push up. And even if they break it, you're going to have Autumn probably swinging on you right away, spraying a Phantom, no tracers, and you're already decayed massively. It's a huge bit of control to play with for this defensive side, allowing them to stack that B site. The only real concern is mid, and if pressure gets applied there, TP from Life, he's there to fight alongside Lysor, and they can take their duels. Heretics will find it hard to find a response, especially as they've pumped the brakes so heavily in this round. With 40 seconds left, still yet to really make any ground. Rien's considering the drone through A, making it look like this is where the play is coming in, and the hope being that the rotations do come through. Life is TP'd off B at least, so they found it an easier job on that side of the map. Oh, and the push through in heaven.
Leaving one player there, it's Berlin. He's going to be actually pinged immediately by the Dizzy, but it allows him to go back into position. Woot, though, defending his little bro. That means they're going to get into that after plant. Utility retrieved. The rest so far away. Iyoung, though, has pushed in on his own, and well, he's going to get double swing for it. A little bit over-aggressive, a little bit individualistic, and because of that, the rest of his team are now still a man down, and they've got to be worried. There is the latest lurk on planet Earth from Benji. He's only just made the drop. I think it actually got heard by Autumn, so he's now waiting. That's another kill to their name, putting things back, but again, Rien's so clean, so confident in these late round scenarios. Autumn's just going to try and get in and defuse this, but actually, I was going to say maybe he wouldn't be pulled off, but I think he has been. The angle not being able to be kept, and eventually it's going to fall flat on its face. Another round where Rien's the last one alive and taking down that final kill.
You know, this round, it makes sense why Benji took so long to get back out, because they made this the most telegraphed A push, A split of all time. The drone goes through the Viper's pit, it catches the tag, immediately on middle, Benji's breaking open the vents, running through to the A site, and letting them know, hey, we tagged you, we're coming to kill you, we're gonna drop that pit, take the site. And the response is what it should be from FPX. They immediately rotate in. Your Viper can't just hold a 360-degree angle, but because of that, the site's much more open. Isolated fight onto Berlin, site secured, plant in, time on their side, and Benji, yeah, he plays it super, super late, but that was what needed to happen. Otherwise, he just runs back out on mid. They obviously know he's there. They kill him. One less guy to deal with.
The danger now, 4 ultimates online for Heretics in a round that if they win, wow, it will put the economy of FPX in an awkward position. Their ultimates, some close, 1 or 2 online, but this is looking like a spot where Heretics might be able to just run away with it. And as said, this is a map that is pretty important for FPX to take. Heading into Bind up next. Miniboo, space taken. He's got the Thrash actually going in behind him. That will clear the back of the site and give them all the space they need.
Should even be able to get back over to recover that, but Woot, oh, picking up the kill onto Young. I don't think he's going to be going for Thrash. Instead, holding onto that control. Up close is Miniboo. Ready to take the fight. No one there to support him anymore, though Heretics fall back into much more passive positions. Miniboo's on his own to slow them down, to make it costly for FPX. Now there could be some trouble. The ult forces him out of position. He knows he was about to be revealed, but Lysor gets the kill. Now the aggression from Life. Flash. Should have another. There it is. Popped and ult completed. Not able to find anything. Sending the decoy through. Just buying the space. Keeping them back in the choke point as the defuse starts. Now he'll body block. Look to absorb those bullets for his teammate. They've killed Life. And now they need the diffuser. Looks like they'll get him just in time. With it ticking away, all they have to do is deny that defuse with the man advantage to their back. And the classic kills to close it out. That's 12-9. FPX left in a really difficult spot now. Economy down low, and 3 in a row needed to stay alive.
That's the thing. If you're in a late round and you see Rienz is alive, just run. Just run. Like, it's a little bit unlucky, like the smoke fading just revealed Berlin to everybody at the end. The body block from Life was a nice idea, but that smoke just, yeah, it wasn't quite there, just not long enough. And while the final push from Rienz, him and Woot, the Turkish duo, up there at the top of the board.
And I think the smoke faded because when they put it up, I could be wrong, but I think they took a second to get towards it because they were cautious of any traps being there. With such a passive hold as well, like I saw them crouch walking into the smoke. An unfortunate one. The 12-9 on the board. Heretics on the cusp of victory. In the map they were 4-1 up in and then lost a streak of rounds, but Rienz is pulling them, kicking and screaming back into this series.
Yeah, it's going to sound harsh, but when you have initiators putting up this many numbers, sometimes your duelist can have a bad game. Like, it really just, it's so ridiculous how talented these 2 Turkish players can be.
Get out of my way!
And let's say it's been needed. Like, FPX have at no point looked out of this map. In fact, it looks like it was going to go dominantly in their favor at a stage, but a second they got onto this defense, it's been a round won by Young. And other than that, not a lot to write home about. Blade Storm in. Young also has the ult available, and Berlin's gone pushing. So is Autumn.
Yeah, they got all the control. They know it's an A-hit that's coming through. The thing is, Benji, he doesn't react in time. The player on the side of his screen, Autumn's picked him up, and now the flank comes underway, or the quicker rotation through the vents. Young able to grab one, and it's Lysor's double. At least giving them a chance in this with low HP, the decay fading, but Boo still on 54. They'll have a tough time in closing this one out. Still stars to play with. Has his Gravwell, and that is going to be the port of call to start this one off, buying him a little bit more time. A looky spam could even the odds. And indeed, they baited out immediately, aware that he's going to be trying something nasty like that. He needs to start spraying. He knows this could be being diffused, and they're waiting for just that. He's seen both. Now he knows it's not even half just yet. He's got a bit more time to play with 4 bullets, and not enough to take them down. The defuse will go across the line for FPX. They'll reach double digits, but they still need 2 more.
Yeah, I think he was incredibly wary of the flank initially just because those were the players that pushed mid to kill off Benji. So he was so worried about it, but just getting that little bit of information gave Boo a chance to fight. but with the low HP already on the board, wasn't to be. And again, a lot of this comes down to just the initiative. This was something that in a lot of the games we saw from FPX where they were successful on the defense, they had a lot of cool ideas, a lot of aggressive pushes, but I think with how Heretics have been playing around mid, they've been deterred. They haven't been able to get away with a lot on this portion of the map and had to go for something quite a bit later. 2 rounds the difference. 2 rounds is all they've had. But as we've seen, they're very good at streaking rounds together.
With these weaker weapons, I'm not expecting much. Woot, though, has the rifle and is able to grab himself at least the trade to start this one off. Moving towards the site, we'll see the plant come in from the wingman. Already mostly through. The spray's not quite landing, so they're able to fall back now. 2 rifles, 3. Well, make that 2 again. It's Boo and Benji Fishy holding the chances of this squad in their hands. They only have 2 chances to close this out, and this one, well, it's not quite their best opportunity with Boo tagged up, or well, decayed down by the Nightfall. The defuse already underway. Here comes the shock dart lineup, though. Gravwell already used to start this one off. Flank spotted as well. Lysor won't get a free kill, but with Boo falling, the numbers thin out. They dealt with flank, but they haven't dealt with the defuse, and the Hunter's Fury way too late. They'll get a tag, but that's all, and an ult expended for little to no impact.
Yeah, they might be able to hold on to their weapons and again make things a little bit more costly, but FPX are not going to mind. They managed to drag this back at the depths to look to try and take this to OT. And again, like for what was invested, not a bad round from Heretics, but just throwing in that ult at the end, thinking that, okay, maybe they've got it half, maybe they've got it close, but it was a lot further along than I think anybody over on the Heretic side had thought. Yeah, it was basically done. It was only if he was incredibly low HP that would have made a difference. 12 to 11, still having a Thrash available. It's going to be something to play with, and definitely still wary of these aggressive pushes. For now, though, again, looking a lot more direct from the side of Heretics.
Well, it absolutely is. You saw Thrash put into the hand of Woot, and now sent out to find a victim. Drop. That was an interesting dash up top. Young in the perfect position to punish it. And now Benji, well, he's not going to get away with absolutely anything. They really want to fight for heaven for Vents, but they will get nothing. Heretics left down in the dirt. 12 to 12. We're going to overtime on map number 1. This was looking like Heretics had it in the bag, but a last-second resurgence from FPX keeps them in it.
I think it's been both teams now that I've expected it to go dominantly to FPX after an incredible first half. Then I was like, okay, well, this is done. And now it's gone to OT, but probably in one of the weirdest fashions I've ever seen. And the thing is, I don't think Ayung had been playing that position much. Like, we'd seen Miniboo multiple times dash up there and have no contention whatsoever. This time, Ayung is waiting. 27 and 16, by the way. It is him and Rienz are really running the show. The question is, who's going to be able to take it over the line? FPX, it seems like all the bells and whistles, all the fakes, all the ruses might go out the window here as all the players, all 5 in fact, are outside B.
Well, Heretics going for the same push-up on A, but seeing absolutely nothing this time. Going to be much quicker rotations going around, plugging the gap that's on middle, and mainly trying to support this B site. Unfortunately, they won't be there in time. Look who snuck into position, though. Boo. It's not a normal spot to be playing from, and they're not even going to clear it. They're not even looking this way. That's the spike right in front of him. He's letting it get half planted just in case he can find another kill, and not quite, but he does the damage. Lysor on 8 HP, but the advantage sits with FPX, and it's Lysor that's going to go forward to plant this spike, I believe uncontested, unless there's a crazy shock dart. There actually was! Rienz fires it in and takes him down! And Autumn and Berlin, now another man sent in to plant this spike, a death sentence most of the time. I believe another, it's a reveal in fact, not a shock this time. It was sent through and it's caught the information. They know where FPX are holding this from. Autumn needs a big play and only the one to be found. Berlin, 1 versus 2. And they're all gonna be diffusing in that narrow little alleyway. If there is a chance, the spray might just work out, but they're trying to bait him into a fight. He sees they're not diffusing. He'll buy this time just a little bit further. In fact, the clock here could prove to be the biggest enemy for the side of Heretics as they start this diffuse yet again. The swing is in, but the shots don't land. FPX punish this time, and it's Heretics to push to 13. Rienz with a phenomenal round. That shock dart was perfect.
They're going to be calling for agent bans. That's what they're going to be looking at. It's like, guys, I've had enough of map vetoes. I want agent vetoes just so I can get this man off a damn sober. Bear in mind, last time they played this map, he wasn't playing sober. He was playing breach. So that's something they brought in for the game today. And it has been disgustingly good. Whether it's reveals, as said, or shock darts. Okay, maybe a hit or miss with the Hunter's Fury, but I don't think they're going to mind too much. Well, you could understand the elation from Benji. They've got another opportunity. They've already had 3 of them to close out this map. And FPX, well, they got an extra pause. They're using it.
Now's not the time to let this one slip. They've got to
get to their B so
as well, like trap wires everywhere to find.
But also, he just knows his lineup for the post plant. So the traps might not even be an issue, really. It's just going to be if they can get into a post plant, which, hey, if you're running a Gecko, I feel like you should be able to do that, and they have been able to do that. Autumn already spotted. Boo already in position, ready with his lineups, just to try and be an absolute rat at the back of the site. And while this is maybe the scariest post plant FPX are going to ever have to face into.
They might not even know what they're facing just yet. That's the scariest part. You see the stars down on the spike. The grav well to deny. Benji's been in this position quite a few times, more than a handful of times. But this time they're not checking it in time. Luckily, Lysor reacts, finds the kill. The defuse started, at least that's as far as Heretics know. Some kills come through though. They reclaim the space. The Odin takes Lysor. The drop from Berlin is good. Able to at least find the one, and Rienz is incredibly low. Boo's caught up top. That's a big mistake. All he has to do now is root out Rienz and deal with Woot, but that's a big task halfway when Rienz swings in to close it out. 14-12. They push them to the limit, but Team Heretics.
They're going to have to fight. They're just going to have to scrap. That's all this is.
But
this
that's
is
what
a scrap.
they want to do.
Win, pull something out of the bag, go for an aggressive composition, try and use that individual skill. Autumn is someone who, hey, he can pull out a clove, drop 25 kills, so let's give him a chance over with the chamber, and there you go, pick and out.
A nice start for that defensive side. A little bit of aggression going down on A as well. I'll try to get some control, push up behind them early on. Team Heretics, well, they could be funneled into just one angle, but there's always the potential to take that teleporter and bring it to the other direction. And looking for the flanks as well. It's Boo creeping his way back. He's turned at just the wrong moment, but corrects in time. Life down, and now Woot's clearing out that angle. They found the second and sent him straight into Boo and straight to the Shadow Realm. 4 versus 3 with FPX now looking to pick up the pieces, but the position from Berlin could be everything. He's got 2, and that's the spike with him.
This is such an absurd round. You'd think the defense are on the attack the way that they're pushing. And why are you going to expect the third player to be pushed up? The thing is, he's alone, hiding in his own smoke. And while he gives a little angle over to Woot, Woot's going to land the shot. And look where the remaining defenders now are. They're kind of ready for this.
I have the spike.
Oh, yeah, they've rotated in just in
30
time.
seconds left.
Lysor stuck in the corner. Off back, he's waiting for the walk through, and it's going to be Woot rounding to take the fight, but the shot is delivered straight to the cranium. Only Autumn. 1 shot left in the golden gun. It's his ghost that's creeping up close and finding them on the spams. The silencer lending a hand, and round the side he goes for the triple kill and the Red Bull clutch to kick off Bind.
Oh, I'd love to see an analytical breakdown of this round, because I think someone out there, maybe Steel, would have an aneurysm. It's one of the most aggressive pistols I've ever seen. You had 2 players making a push directly into mid. You had another that took complete showers control, which ended up winning them the round. And then you have this to start it off, where just the patience from Autumn, and he's the one that clutches out as well. If he goes down there, this round is lost. But that's what FPX need to do. They need to be disruptive, they need to be crazy. And they need to almost push Heretics off their game, because Heretics are very happy to sit back and be passive. Well, they're not going to be allowed to do that.
No, they're not. Of course, it's the Outlaw that picks up that opening. A strong weapon Yeah, by all accounts. And Young,
he couldn't have done that with a Marshall against unarmored players.
Nope, not possible, Tom.
No.
You know, he wouldn't have had the confidence, and that's what it's all about, just in case they bought shields.
In the last round.
Yeah, you know, very shy player, I think it's fair to say. But no, for FPX.
Yeah, Australians are known for being very shy.
Yeah, right? Reserved, quiet. Yeah, that's
just like Mac, mate. He's incredibly shy.
Quiet bloke. Yeah, you'd miss him in a room, a quiet room. Well, FPX, they found themselves a strong advantage to play with. Heretics have next to nothing to work with, and even the Ghost is doing work.
One enemy remaining.
This is just a chance for, well, I was gonna say, Young to farm, but actually Life stole that last kill away. A great start for FPX. Bear in mind, the last map was incredibly close. They lost both pistols, so they were in a rough spot pretty much from the beginning of both. Being able to get off to a great start here. That Outlaw carried through, a Judge for Berlin as well. But this is where the rifles come up. Heretics pretty much always win their attack. Even in matches they lose. When they lost to Vitality, they won their attack. 7-5, 7-3, 7-3, 7-3, 10-2. Like, they are very good at this side of the map. So if FPX can disrupt them enough, well, I'll be interested to see this comp in the attack, but even still, I think they're planning to try and disrupt this attack side. Wow. Rian's kind of clean today.
Not a bad start, that's for sure. And Young not going to last much longer either. They've avoided going into Berlin's awaiting arms, and now they've spotted him too.
He's going to let it hit him. He doesn't want to shoot the Judge.
No, and actually it might just work. Now they think there could be a rifle in there. Let's see what we've got. What's behind door number 1? It's a Judge, and now it's time to leave that guy alone. You can have all the space you want in lamps, but you got to get to the site to defuse, and that's where the difficulty spawns. Paranoia used to try to keep them back. Again, Rians can see clear as day. The orb going to block him out. Flash goes up top. Benji's around the back, inside the smoke, waiting for them to emerge, and he's caught himself a double, almost a third, but Rians gets ahead of him, and a clean round from those two. That is 2-1 with Heretics on the board, but that's the round we expect FPX to lose as well.
I also don't think you could expect Benji to be there because of the fact that they are actually throwing Util into the smoke. So you're sat there going, okay, well, if they're going to put Molotovs on this, why would there be a dude just sat in there? And there was. But just clean openers. And again, we're going to highlight Miniboo because he had a rough first map, but if this guy comes online, I do think it's over, because everybody else, we've seen them thriving. I think Rian's especially, Woot was great in the first map. This is where things get maybe even more exciting, as he's upgraded and now has an operator.
Yes, no shields, you'll notice. This is a glass cannon attempt to get aggressive early on, has the TP to fall back on. Getting a little greedy, going around the corners, and there's Boo waiting for him with the iPad out. Wasn't quite expecting that aggressive of a peek, and now the punish is being delivered.
Sorry guys, I didn't expect him to swing all the way down mid without checking one side. Sorry, I wasn't aware of it. They're going to try and immediately pivot to the other side of the map, but look who's there again. Autumn playing this rotational operator, and he's got Life alongside him. A lot of support. And now 2 men down.
The dominoes have started to topple at this point for FPX. Everything is working out. Another pick as Rians comes out of the smoke, and the rest of the squad still sat up in hookah. Now they fall back, looking to take it the other direction, and perhaps they'll have a 2v2 on offer. You have some aggression.
Yeah, it's just where it is, though. This is a filthy crossfire. I think they're just going to save, though. This is just holding on to guns. Yeah, I was about to say, if they go all the way around, they're geniuses. But at this stage, the economy will be good enough if they hold on to these guns, make sure Boo gets another one in the next round. So it's going to be an immediate response from FPX. And as said, like, what they're currently doing, so ridiculously disruptive. Like, again, you have to be wary wherever you go. The Autumn could have peeked mid, TP back, immediately rotated to the other side of the map, and could be facing you there as well. And that's exactly what happened in this round. He becomes even just a distraction in the late game because you're focusing on that operator. And then, do you think Life's going to hide? No, Life's going to swing. And well, Berlin is looking to even remove the guns, but eventually they will be allowed to save, and for Heretics, pretty important.
Yeah, based on what I've seen even just in this series, Tom, I don't think Life's going to hide. This guy is, he's unhinged to say the least, and I think you can say the same for Autumn at mid-push. You know, the idea makes sense. If there's a player on the left, they'll have to swing out wide. So it's a timing, it's a risk you're taking. But the fact that you have that TP, if things go wrong, they miss a shot, you're already out of there.
That's what this comp is. It's
Yeah,
a risk. It is a bunch of risks. But that's the thing. As I said, I think if you try and play regular, to the book, standard Valorant, beating them on this map is incredibly difficult. Already, Thrash going to be utilized and straight through the TP, but they're met with Benji. 3 disrupted. And wow, swings and roundabouts. Sometimes the aggression works, sometimes you get triple sprayed down.
Yeah. The fact that these players turn so quickly, the doors open, and, well, they seem to close on the round, at least, with FPX having an operator, Lysor. I'm not sure that they're going to want to commit these weapons to it. You look at FPX, post-plant utility doesn't really exist barring the snakebite, but for Team Heretics, that's not quite the case. They've got their snakebite, they've got their molly, they've got re-ends, and I think they know the mosh pit was already used, but even the flash to re-execute out for a fight. The seize as well from Woot. It's not one that I'd expect a big commitment from, especially with now they've cleared the site. They've seen that it's most likely post-plant setups. These weapons may just be more valuable carried through for future rounds, although, I mean, Lysor is very aggressive. He wants to make it costly for Heretics and at least drop a few bodies. As he fails, Autumn's out.
Yeah, I think Autumn always had the plan, unless his teammate got a couple of kills to just fade away. Everything else they can repurchase. So it's not the end of the world. Heretics do well to weather the storm this time. And again, it's another round where contact is made towards Hookah. The response from FPX is to 3-man TP, which is a bit mental. And well, I saw all the assists come through, and I was like, how has Boo got 3 assists? That is a Stim Beacon triple assist.
Nice, very good kill.
It's not something you're going to see every single day. And while Benji does incredibly well in that scenario. Again, though, the only thing that would worry me for FPX, honestly, is if they start shying away. Because this comp, if you play passive, sucks.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is not a passive comp. And that's the problem. If things don't work out, that's often going to be what you do, is switch it up, change your pace. We saw that in the last round. Now Autumn being dropped is traded out for life. Got an aggressive out on B long, at least keeping a foothold for this site that isn't just deep. And yeah, I was kind of expecting him to fall back at this point, at least maintain the control. But this guy, I should have learned my lesson. I thought I did earlier. He always keeps going. He's going back out. No, he's not.
He's thinking about it. He's going to get revealed.
Okay, he's back.
He has his ult as well, though. So there's always a chance to double dip, especially with space being taken now. You know, yeah, every angle's being checked before they attempt anything. Aggressive control into the showers means that they don't really have to worry too much about the TP. It's a position that they've already been caught once with Berlin, but Ayung's now on spot. Lysor trying to just see if he can get any information, because at least then he'd be able to slow them down.
30 seconds left.
Well, the Seize hasn't quite caught in the flash on left, and they even caught Life, I think. They want to try to back out, but mollies are covering them. Orbital Strike comes in, sectioned off by Team Heretics, put in a box. Life at least able to find a one. How is that correction landed? At least Benji falls. Life's work is not for nothing. In fact, it seems like the advantage will be converted into a round win for FPX. 4-2. And honestly, watching Life play this game is just perplexing. I don't know how he's getting away with so much in these aggressive positions.
Again, it's something that we're looking at from a side where we can see everything. Just imagine what it's like from Heretics' point of view, where a guy just goes blasting straight through the smoke, taking insanely aggressive fights, and again, he's the reason they win the round. Like, he is fully the reason. Like, the re-aggression to start with to put things back even after Autumn goes down. It's the second prong. Like, you're not expecting someone to go running out, but it's just this shot onto Boo, which I feel like it has been Boo just on the wrong end of a lot of that. And then Ayung actually catching someone off the back of his own utility as well. So 4-2. Defensive side starting to build a lead, and I like the fact that Heretics are taking a very early pause here.
The best part is when Ayung threw that reveal, there was probably the thought that if Life can just hold on a second, it'll help him get a kill, and instead he just runs through the smoke and takes 2 blind. So you know, when you've got a player like that, I mean, you know, you got to let him off the leash, and that's certainly what they're doing on FPX. Remember, one of the main factors of success for this side so far has been Autumn, able to find those early picks. This round started out with Heretics picking him, taking him down, but the response was immediate from Life on B long. He got aggressive, they didn't punish that, and then they lived to regret it.
Yeah, I think, again, a lot of what Heretics, similarly in the last map, like, they're going to have prepped for Abyss because they knew what was coming. They knew that it was likely to be picked by FPX. They knew that they play this aggressive game. If they prep for this, they have somehow snuck into their opponent's scrims, because I don't think there's a way you could have seen this coming. And that's why I think taking an early pause, giving Neilzinho an opportunity to sort of go, okay, they're trying to push everything. I thought for the most part they were going to try and double up, but I guess the idea is maybe for Miniboo just to try and sell some info. Yeah, and he's not looking to fight anything. He knows there's going to be aggressive plays.
Remember, we had it in the last round as well, but no chance to use it in the chaos. Miniboo's got the showstopper ready to work with, but Autumn picked off in the last round. He'll take 2 first bloods in this one to make up for it. That is a devastating start. And now that showstopper, that's just an afterthought. Walking through the Viper utility. Oh, the timing. The judge still comes back for 1. And well, a 5 versus 1 emerges. Good luck and condolences for the round to Benji Fishy.
Oh, it's going to have to be an insane 1v5. They know exactly where he is. Pop flashes and, well, we talk about how aggressive this team can be, but both players falling back. They want to try and group back up with Autumn, and he's not falling back. But honestly, with what he's done in this round so far, I can't really blame him. A collapse to start off the round. The aggression that this man is pulling out, well, I'd say it's about 90-odd% successful.
Yep, and the worst part about it is you're seeing him just with global control. At the start of the round, you might as well roll a dice to figure out where the hell he's going to be. Peeking out, whether it's in hookah, whether it's on long. Now we're probably going to see B long. I mean, there's nowhere that you can feel safe, and they did the best thing they could, double swing in the angle. I think at this point, Heretics have got to just, if you're going to peek, Dizzy has to go round first. Otherwise, you're dead. Prowler, something has to reveal that, or you're risking 2 players dying to 1 bullet.
That's the thing. They do have the utility to be able to clear out an operator. Like, you've got yourself a Fade and a Gecko, and you've got a Boombot. Like, I think this round they did, or the last round, sorry, they put the Boombot through to try and catch him pushing B mid, but it didn't matter. He wasn't there, and then they weren't prepared to try and fight him over on that A site. Miniboo still has his ultimate for this round, but you look at what's on offer. I don't know if they'll want to use it, especially with where Berlin is again. You talk about that operator. I think the judge is just as scary.
Especially in Berlin's hands with what we saw previously, and when you've got the Viper Util decaying you down. Here he is with a chance, but Woot's the one to shut him out. Now an opportunity for Heretics, even with the weaker weapons, if they can keep these trades up, and they're doing exactly that. 3 versus 2, and some weapons to be recovered with a plant coming in now. And Wingman online for the late round. Autumn's on the flank, the long way around with Lysor inside that smoke in spawn. It's going to be a tough split. They have to win their individual fights.
Is he going to get revealed?